Hello, friends. Oh my goodness, that's a start. I just spilled drink everywhere. Hello, friends. I'm a genius. I might need to pause for a moment.
Yeah, I was like, we need to go back.
All right,
actually do.
Go back to starting soon.
Yeah.
We'll see you guys in a moment.
That's great. Hello, friends. For sure this time. I didn't just spill my drink everywhere. Okay. Well, we are. We have everybody, which is the first time in a while, kind of. No real announcements though. So we are actually just gonna go right into.
Yes, there is.
The website.
We built it.
Oh, that's true. I apologize. we actually built a whole store. I was gonna wait to announce that until after we actually had merch, because then we could actually show it. But we built a website that has a bunch of random stuff on it. Most of it is just pictures of characters and ego. We'll actually be able to show them off fairly soon. But yes, we did build that out. If anyone has any interest. With that, last week, after dealing with the aftermath of colliding with the Crimson Covenant, you all made your way north further to actually meet with the Thornscale merchants. The town itself was actually quite small, and while you were welcomed, really not much was actually going on in the city itself. So you quickly made your way past them to the Thornscale merchants' hideout, or their tent that had been set up. That was weird. Upon actually entering in, first off, you figured out that this tent, whatever it is, seems that you only can enter by invitation. Seemed to almost be maze-like in its interior. That said, due to the invitation and the escort, you were able to quickly find your way to Thornscale. And while Clay Beekman and Thornscale may have discussed business for a bit, perhaps set up some new business ventures to be explored in the future, for the time being, the conversation went more so towards what has been going on specifically in regards to the Kobolds, Tiku's clan. Thornscale gave you information on the fact that there has been effectively bounties out on Kobolds for quite some time, and they've been being delivered to Roslakar. He also was able to give you more information on a new sickness that seems to be spreading across Altira, referred to as dragon sickness. You guys have seen symptoms of this already through dragon's blindness, as well as in Tiku, figuring out that there is different minerals and gemstones in her blood, and he was able to confirm that that is a symptom of dragon sickness. In fact, that symptom typically is signs that they're getting towards the end. Usually there's only about 6 weeks left from his experience. That's the longest he's seen someone live after the minerals being discovered in their blood. From there, Razu had left during a good portion of this conversation and started running some experiments, figured out some new features of his scythe, and new ways to interact with blood before meeting back up with all of you, and with some contention, finally agreeing to drink the vial that seemed to bring out Squawk. Squawk, upon drinking the vial, Squawk seemed to take over Razu, and a conversation ensued, asking him some questions. You're able to confirm that he's been experimenting on kobolds, looking for something called the prime blood, to try and make Razu the truly perfect being that he is destined to be. From there, Razu had to all of you, Razu would have almost seemed to almost like sink into thought for just a moment before Squawk addressed you, seemingly becoming more himself. He hunched over, took off the plate, the plating armor, effectively the half plate that Razu wore, and dropping it to the floor before taking a more hunched and almost effectively, feral. That is a great word. Taking a more hunched and almost feral look to his attire, and said, regrettably, seemed that Razu was not going to come back. With that, at that moment, he seemed in a similar way to what the Crimson Covenant had done. However, this magic, or based on the room, this, well, really whatever it is, seemed to almost bleed away into ash, leaving you all now alone in this effective carnival tent. Still ready to go in for a long rest, as that was the initial intent, but now left alone. What do you wish to do?
So, we watched Razu physically turn to dust.
Basically, yes.
To ash, yes.
Dashing.
He did take off the armor. Razu's half plate was actually left on. However, the scythe faded with him.
And who had the vial that he drank from?
Gurgle told him that he had it, and then Razu is actually the one who had it in his possession.
Gurgle
is simply what he told him about it.
Don't let anyone drink that again. It just incinerated him.
It's not incinerated.
He's ash.
But it disappeared. It's like the other guys that we fought on the wagon.
He's ash.
Just real quick.
He's not dead. He's probably in.
He's ash.
He's in Roslakar.
How do you know he's in Roslakar? He is ash.
Because we've seen this before.
Is this a common occurrence?
Recently, yes.
As soon as he turned to ash, I wanted to make my way forward to see if I could collect even the smallest sample, and if I was able to basically, as quickly as possible, put it inside the cube.
How would you intend on putting it inside the cube?
Basically holding it and looking at the cube.
That'll work.
So for collecting it, first off, I'm going to say... I'm forward and collecting it before it is here. I'm going to have this actually be sleight of hand, because you're trying to move very quickly as this
I know how fast it
rapidly,
vanishes.
almost to the point of like flash paper, burns away.
God damn it. 6.
6. As you run up and you reach to grab it, you find purchase and realize it actually has a solid nature to it, but in just as fast a motion, just and seems to be gone.
Well,
my camera has died, Trinity.
so if he's not dead,
He's experimenting on kobolds in Razakar, and we need to stop him.
So,
get up and dust yourself off.
was that not the real Razu then?
That was the
It
real
was and it
Bowser.
wasn't.
Then how is he in Roznakar?
Because his dad is a psycho.
Something within the vial that he drank was capable of allowing him to teleport to another location.
So,
Despite being in an anti-magic field.
Yes.
so now this is the part that I'm trying to grab my hands around. You say this so confidently that he's still alive.
I'm absolutely positive he is still alive.
You know that's gum, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not swallowing it.
Even though we just watched him turn to ash.
He did not turn to ash. That is a side effect of the potion he drank.
It looked a lot like turning to ash.
You are correct. It's almost as if it's a side effect of the potion he just drank.
So this potion, so instead of, let me get this straight. So what you're trying to tell me is as he was being turned to ash, the parts of him were being teleported away to a new location in
Yes.
kind of like a weird teleportation instead of instantaneous. It's like,
If that assists you in wrapping your head around it, yes.
We don't understand it either. If that
because
helps.
to me it looks like he was just turned to ash.
Yeah, but it's still alive. We don't understand it either.
Can I have his armor?
Sure. But, I'm not sure at this point if Razer's a friend or a foe. I would like to think that there's still Razer in there somewhere.
At this point, Squawk has done something to him. Razu is suppressed, I guess is the way to say it. Squawk said he'd be willing to do anything to make Razu on top.
Including sacrifice all of Tiku's people.
Tiku needs to talk to the packer.
I'm gonna go and collect Razu's armor.
His armor is +1 plate that is it adamantium? That,
Yes.
Yes, it's a +1 adamantium half plate.
Half plate. Adamantium. Got it.
I'm a little conflicted what we should do about Razu.
I think
don't
that's
know.
about everybody.
I don't know how much of that is his decision, or how much of that is the influence of Squawk.
The answer is it's impossible to tell without asking Razu himself. And we can't really do that.
And how do we ever know that we're ever talking to Razu?
Does sound
Detect
different?
thoughts.
What was that?
Detect thoughts.
I mean, they sound different.
He's a Kenku. He can sound any way he wants.
That's true. But
Zone of truth.
Tiku wants to remove Squawk from the equation.
And how do you propose to do that?
Tiku needs to talk to the packer. Make a door.
actually, you said you had an alchemy lab. Does that mean you have people that work in it?
Yes, I have
Can you make
some
Tiku a
mages
door?
that do work for me. Yeah.
Is it? Are they good at reverse engineering advanced alchemy?
Could be. I don't know. I hire them for a specific task. It's not necessarily this, but I imagine that they're much smarter than I, and that's why I employ them.
I would not recommend creating a door in this room.
Have you ever heard of something that would allow somebody to inhabit another person? Alchemically, not magically.
I've heard of ghostly possession, and then of course the arcane. So I imagine they could have put a domination spell in liquid form in a potion.
And then fed it to him? Something like that?
Fed it to him is probably the incorrect word, but they probably made him drink it.
Injected it into his bloodstream?
Ooh, injected potions, sort of like poison. So maybe this gives me an idea.
Is this another business venture?
It could be. I mean, alter self for women. You know, make themselves look younger. Just a little injection.
We'll come back to that later. Tiku, you said you need a door to the Paca.
I feel like
Yes,
it could
please.
be a multi-billion
Well,
dollar
we'll need
idea.
to find a place to set that up.
We all need to leave together.
Technically, we can't leave without Mr. Thornscale's permission.
You can leave the way you entered, he say.
He said even if you leave the way you enter, you'll still get lost.
Hey, can we come out?
As a quick reminder, Kane is correct. When you had looked back through the entrance you came into, it instead looked as if you were looking down almost like an endless hall with different doors or entries on the sides of it. It was to actually, you would actually address Thornscale, and he would effectively just need to either send someone or come collect you himself.
By the way, also bullshit. Razu just left.
He somehow managed to teleport out.
I thought he turned to ash. I thought he was dead.
Maybe he did. Maybe he released his soul, and that's his soul.
Well, either way, he left his breastplate, and it is a nice fit.
Just in case, I'm going to make my way to the exit, open the flap, and then call out Mr. Thornscale in the actual tent area, if that makes a difference.
Okay. Just calling up for Thornscale to come collect you. One other thing that, funnily enough, Jasmine put in chat that was part of the transformation you saw in Razu as well. His eyes did change. So rather than the...
Yeah, but they're alchemists.
It is alchemist.
That's not
It
a
is alchemy.
guarantee.
Along the lines of the changes that happened to him, the big changes were his posture changed severely. He removed his armor, and his eyes changed.
I'm just assuming all of it can be faked.
I mean, you're not wrong. Okay, so with that, not actually having that much of that long of a conversation, Thornscale was actually still paying attention. So within a few moments, Thornscale would actually, you kind of like open the flap to address him, and the hallway actually looks normal, and he just simply pulls back a flap of the tent and goes, "You didn't make it very far."
We didn't think he was going to turn into whatever he did.
For what it's worth, I can tell you that wasn't like magic or teleportation. Whatever he was is gone, as far as we can tell. I was a little bit concerned after our encounter earlier with him out of the alchemy lab, so I did have a few of my more arcanely inclined individuals watching you, and they had explained it more as if his essence had been erased. Similar to...
He used the clone
Are you
spell.
saying you were spying on us? Did you
told-
hear
He
about my
literally just
business
worked
venture?
himself.
I told you that I was going to be watching up front. I
Okay.
would argue that does not elicit spying.
All right. Well, but did you hear about my business venture?
Yes, however, employing someone who is now admitted to experimenting and perpetuating
No.
a disease.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the injections for women.
He wants to make them.
I would be most curious to see what allows these transformations first. Because if they are as...
This is nothing to do with Razu.
I mean, if we could create one, sure. I absolutely could see it being profitable. However, I would just want to make sure we're functioning in a morally ethical approach.
I'm pretty sure it's ethical. We won't be forcing anyone to take these injections. It's all vanity.
Perhaps.
Though it probably wouldn't hurt if we put an addictive substance in it.
I'm gonna let you guys talk about this. I need help, Tiku, with getting access to her deity.
I mean, by all means, is just kind of like
He needs
looks about
access
it.
to an actual doll.
No, template works too.
Preferably one
It
that's
does?
not like used all the time.
Like a closet.
I'm not sure that would work here, just due to the nature of this tent. That said, if you simply need a door, I believe there is. I don't believe they're actually fairly full, but I know that there are many doors in the village. He reaches to the tent flap just to the left of him, it's just outside this room, and he grabs it and pulls it back, and you guys can see outside the entrance to the tent where you originally came through. If you simply need to find a door back in the village, easily enough, and you're so welcome to stay here, of course, unless you're planning to stay wherever you're going. Tigu, at this point, just walks out,
I'm following
makes her way into
Tiku.
the village.
I am going to exit to not be in the anti-magic zone, just so you know.
'Kay.
Not exit the tent, just exit the room.
All right.
Like you feel naked and exposed.
Exiting the carnival tent area effectively. You can feel your connection to the arcane return. Thornscale actually, as you exit, walks in and effectively starts to weave what you'd instantly recognize as somatic motions for like spell casting. After a moment, he kind of like nods, walks out. Goes, the magic is still in effect, Gago. That is to say, I'm confident that whatever that was not spellcraft.
Or at least not any ones that we know of.
Or that, but it is the potency of an anti-magic field. If they have magic that can still function in something like that, then well, I imagine you guys are going to have quite the task ahead of you.
I'm hearing this. I'm like walking back. I'm like, I'm pretty sure he just killed himself. Probably used a clone spell or something to send his soul to a different body. Okay. All right, I'm coming, Tiku.
So we're just going to go to you two.
How do you use a spell inside of an anti-magic field?
Are you following them out the side of the tent?
That's not how the clone spell works.
He set it up ahead of time. I'll give you a book on it. You can read about it later. I can help Tiku.
Tigu, as you venture into the town, again, especially now that you've been in for a few hours, there's really no one about. Even the individuals that were making dinner near the well in that pot of stew. The pot is still there, but it is now empty and has actually been rinsed clean. The smell is almost entirely faded. There's still a bucket used to draw water, but other than that, it largely seems empty. It very much so has gotten to night. Both suns have set. You're just gonna find a random door? Are you looking for something specifically?
Any kind of signage with like a bed or a mug on it? Yeah.
There is an inn. As a reminder, you were already told by who you assumed to be like the mayor, the leader of the village. The individual who greeted you said that the inn is currently full, as many of the Thornscale merchants have already purchased rooms. They did not have a place for you to stay currently, just due to the Thornscale merchants staying in town.
Any ideas?
Give me a moment. I need to look at something.
Is there like a barn or like somewhere that looks like an old shack or like an abandoned home?
There's like a stone storage room, effectively. It's a brick house that even through the top of it you can see seems to be quite full, or at least the edges are filled with what appears to be almost bags of, you would imagine, grain or something of the like. It's a large storage structure for the village.
We could use the storage house.
And really anything with a door should work. Just preferably something that someone's not going to need all the time, and maybe not under surveillance when we start opening and shutting it.
Okay, so making your way over to the effectively to this storage, would it still be a storage
Even
shack?
if we just find someone's like old shack that's just like sitting in the back that's like run down super.
It's easily enough to find a door that is not actively being used. You do have your mark currently,
outhouses.
Packer. You do have your mark currently, Tiku.
I think he has mark. I don't know if I have mine. Mine still has an inn.
Yeah, it is. You've gone over the timing to where you could refresh it though. So you could mark this door and it would simply remove your mark in Zinderhold.
Well, I'll wait for Ellen.
Or you could just have Zephyr do it. Either way.
In case you needs it for a different moment.
Mark the door. Open it.
Okay.
Do you want me to come in with you, Tiku?
Up to you.
Probably best if I do.
Okay. You enter in. The environment is, again, different. This is the first time you've actually encountered this, TQ. As you enter in and you immediately see walls stretching to the right and left a good 100 feet. The walls themselves being a good 50 feet tall as well. The stone on the side seems to be made of almost a white, almost reminds you of like stucco in its actual material. It almost looks slightly jagged and spiked. Goes about 100 feet in each direction before Elling. Goes about another 100 feet and then boxes. And it's effectively as you're in it almost looks like a massive prison yard with walls stretching dozens and dozens of feet in the air. The top of them have it's almost as first impression is spikes, but upon further inspection, it almost instead looks like hats. The different, where it would normally go up to a spike, it's almost as if the tip of it falls. Think like your stereotypical, almost like cartoon wizard hat. But it is still made out of metal. And the different designs look purposeful the different hats have different symbols on them, arcane runes. And apologies, did you say you came in?
Yeah.
You would, upon looking at those, recognize these as arcane runes of the different schools of magic that seem to just be on these different hats. The hats, as you look about, are also they vary. They're not all your almost like pointed tipped hats. Some almost seem like top hats, smaller, almost like flat top hats. Just a wider range that, while initially looked prison yard, and almost goes to like a bit of a confusion. There's a large structure towards the right side of what is this square courtyard. There's a large structure, a road that goes up, and then a small path that cuts to the left. In the middle on the left side, another smaller structure. Smaller structure on the left looks almost like another storage room, funnily enough, although a little bit more sophisticated. The actual building seems to be made out of what is a black brick. It very much so almost looks like a purposely painted brick with, again, of a wide assortment of arcane runes on it. The door is currently locked, and you can, even at this distance, including you, TQ, you can very clearly see what seems to be a magical sigil that is floating in front of the door. It almost seems to be spinning with some kind of a hole. Reminds you of a keyhole that is a kind of oval in shape. The structure towards the back of it is about it's 3 stories tall. Think Japanese, older, like Warring Kingdom's Japanese castle. It almost goes back in layers to where each one has its own. It almost looks like each of the higher floors almost have like a porch area with a small fence on the outside. The fences look to be made of like a fine, and they seem to have like a fine iron fence, again, with those symbols kind of spread sporadically all throughout it. There's 2 individuals who are that same kind of almost ghostly silhouette that you've become accustomed to. They seem to be discussing, and almost, while you can't hear it, you almost get the feeling of like a jovial atmosphere. The sound of laughter doesn't actually come through in this area, as it almost seems eerily quiet, but it's almost as if you can feel the laughter and the jokes that these 2 individuals are having. The Packer is currently standing on at the base of that building. He looks frazzled. He is now, this time he is wearing just a single cloak. The cloak has a couple holes in the shoulder. It seems torn, kind of up to just up his forearm. The left looks fairly fine, actually. The right side is mostly torn. As you enter, he also, for one of the first times, does not seem to acknowledge you, as he simply seems to stare up at the 2 individuals on this balcony.
Does the silhouettes remind me of anyone?
Upon taking a closer look at them, they do remind you of one. One seems to be a taller, bulkier humanoid bird. Very much so reminds you of Razu, if Razu was not wielding a weapon. The other individual on the left does not look familiar to you. Human, maybe about 5.5, 6 feet tall. Right in there, seems a little bit more lengthy in his build. And without seeing the face, it looks as if a bird, your immediate interpretation would be like a Kanku, looks kind of like Razu in terms of his outline, and some kind of humanoid individual that seemed to be talking on this balcony. What's up, Zever?
I'm just going to use thaumaturgy just to imitate some thunder, just kind of like announce our presence that we're here.
Okay.
Just in case anything changes there.
As you cast the spell, the 2 individuals on the balcony don't seem to react at all, and you see the Packer flinch, like notably, like, and his eyes like dart, but rather than darting to you, they're on the first, so like the second floor, that first balcony. Rather than darting to you, they dart up to the second balcony, and he almost like starts to scan it for a moment frantically before stopping, and then his eyes lower to the second balcony again, still slanted upwards, but not looking towards you.
So he looked up. I just like looked down into my left.
As you look down into the left, it is just road.
Okay.
It seems that
Just make sure there wasn't any weird like time
No,
or
so
like
it
spatial
seems-
thing going on here.
it seems that even though he heard the sound,
Yeah.
he's preoccupied with what he's looking at and doesn't seem to be willing to avert his gaze.
Tiku, You seemed quite worried about you last time I was here. He helped me find you.
Packer!
As you actually call out, he, for the first time, kind of like breaks, and he looks over to you. And as the Packer looks at you, you see a much less, in your eyes, sophisticated chef as much as a feral jackal. His fur is matted and almost seems stuck out in places. His teeth are, his face is snarled. You can see his teeth. The coloring to his teeth, while in a constant state of variance, currently almost looks to be white. So it's almost as if you had white teeth that are lightly covered in moss. It almost looks like there's grass in between, almost stuck in his teeth. And as he looks towards you, his eyes are initially very serpentine-like in nature, but upon like seemingly focusing on you, his snarl goes away. The irises to his eyes seems to expand a little bit. He goes, "Peter, you're okay."
Are you okay?
Then he looks back towards the balcony, and as you guys were focused on him, and you kind of like follow his gaze, he looks back to the balcony, and the two individuals are gone. He goes, "Escaped again."
Did we interrupt something?
No. And as he waves his hand, you find yourself in a familiar inn. Snow on the outside, a pot smelling of fresh stew in the middle. His fur immediately seems more fine again, almost as if he bathed and combed it. Upon him almost now smiling instead of snarling, his teeth seem more so clean. Still a little bit yellow, especially towards the tips, or sorry, the tops of them, the base. And he walks over and sits in one of the chairs, kind of gesturing at the two chairs that are next to the pot. He says, "I'm glad to see you're okay, TQ.
Are you okay? Do you need help with something?
Yes. Yes, I do."
Okay. Tiku can see if she can help, but Tiku doesn't have very long. Tiku found out she's sick. And she needs to kill the alchemist.
Yes. That is how you will help me as well.
You need to kill the alchemist?
He's been swimming away for much too long. He is not right. At this point, the Packer reaches out to the pot of stew. Rather than stirring with like a ladle or a cooking utensil like he normally does, he actually would just like his 4 fingers, claws looking a little bit longer as well. He starts to stir the stew, and as you kind of like look in as well, appreciating the Packer's cooking, there is your typical like meats and vegetables and what is overall a fairly standard stew, except for those hints of almost like white mist, this familiar almost essence of whatever these souls or these individuals that he seems to meet with and consumes. As he stirs the pot, his fingers, he almost like stabs in, grabbing something with his 4 fingers and pulls out what is almost looks like he's pulling out a tendril. It's like it's still stuck in the pot. He's trying to pull it out. And he pulls it out and he says, "But I was prepared for this." And then he, almost plucking it snaps at the bottom, and he holds it out to you. As soon as you grab it, it seems to almost like into your hand. I'm almost immediately being absorbed.
Did Tiku drop it? I didn't get to eat it.
No. But I feel as if it would only be best for you to make the decision. I never wanted to keep it anyways.
Oh. Was that Razu?
Yes. If you wish to save the bird, simply make him a meal, and he will return.
If you don't have to save him, make him into a meal.
If you wish to gain power, make yourself a meal. it will be invigorating.
How do I separate a soul from a body?
You are not ready.
I have
For
to be ready.
now, if you wish to save the bird, you should simply feed him a meal. And then bring him to me. This is the help that I need. Is he almost like looks off to the side, currently up to just the corner of the room, but in the direction that he was looking before when he was looking at the balcony. And this is the second half must be reunited. I need the adult bird.
The one inside Razu,
Yes,
the alchemist.
he is perversing the souls. And he looks down towards the pot of stew. And at this point, he pulls a ladle from the floor, and he almost like taking a scoop at it. He looks at the stew with almost like a slight disgust, and says, "Ugh." And he pours it back in. Says,
Do I notice anything weird about it?
the
Do I sense anything off or notice anything off?
I'm gonna say a culinary check. So this is just gonna be using your cooking skills. As just at a glance, looking at the stew, see if you notice anything that is off with it.
He was apparently awful to do today. Dirty 20.
Your plus is so high, though.
Dirty 20. Looking at it, he seems disappointed with the stew, and as you look at it, it seems a little bit more liquidy than the stews he normally makes. He usually prefers more chunky food. But other than that, you can't tell if there's anything drastically off with it, other than you do have a sense almost of his distaste and not even trying the pot instead of just pouring it back in. Would lead you to believe that something's wrong, but you don't know exactly what it is.
You mentioned that he's tampering with the souls.
Yes.
Do you know how?
Not exactly. That's why I need him here. I am...
Do you have some hypothesis?
Yes. He's blending them. The experiment that I know through Tiku's experience in the words, the magic of souls becoming one. It seems he's, if I were to take a guess, has learned how to harness it and is now using that to try and combine and build something. But I am still trapped here, in a sense. Which is why I need you to bring him here.
Sounds like his goal is... Wait, do we know this? Right, Prime Blood, right? We know that?
Yes,
Okay.
he did straight up say that what is the Prime Blood.
His goal seems to be this thing called the Prime Blood. Maybe he's trying to mix multiple beings to try to artificially create it.
Or pull out the traces, yeah.
Do you know what this Prime Blood is, by chance?
Dangerous.
Well, it seems to be what we're always involved in is danger, so...
The old one was supposed to split it. Power too much for one. Spread amongst the many.
Split into, say, multiple, like, dragon elements?
Yes.
Why were you so scared? Who is hunting? Backer.
The old ones are returning. You've met one. But he is not the only primal force.
And they hunt you?
I will lose myself when they return. We are not meant to be someone. We are meant to be something, a force. If brought outside of here, I would return to that nothingness, that boringness.
Sounds like you enjoy being someone.
Yes. Yes, I do. Observations of this world have always been... As he looks out the window, and in a similar fashion to one of the first times you had come, you almost see an individual walking through the snow. He says, "The pieces are fascinating and delicious."
I'll just take your word for it. On the delicious part.
I can stop the soul mending, the soul tethers. I simply need the bird brought to me.
And what are you planning on doing with him?
Freeing him. In the most delectable sense of the word.
So you plan on killing him?
Yes. Aye. Eating him.
Yeah, I mean, that's how a lot of people go.
It is the only way to free him from that husk he now puppeteers. Then you can return what was once your friend. And I can stay as I am.
And
How?
these old ones aren't going to be able to stop you.
No.
We sound confident.
Yes.
How do we hide so he doesn't know we come?
Better question, how do you force feed him a meal?
We can put it up his butt.
Does that count as eating? Let's say, look over at the packer.
He just kind of smiles and tilts his head. And says, eating could be defined as consuming as well. Or perhaps even injecting as something he is very fond of.
It's more likely. I actually am highly suspicious that just drew a blank.
The
Well,
body.
his dad.
Squawk.
Squawk, yeah. That Squawk probably doesn't eat. Probably just injects all of his food directly into him. All the nutrients straight into his bloodstream. Sounds a very Squawk thing to do.
If they're unconscious, they will likely swallow.
You want to give him actual food.
Soup.
I think we need a couple backup plans. I don't think us just going up and feeding him some soup and breadsticks is going to work.
Just got an image of like Tiku with soup in a like syringe, just like injecting soup. In
I'm just picturing like she's just like sneaks in as like a freaking like a maid and just like puts soup on his table. It's like, eat, master.
She's very used to that.
At this point, the packer again says, "You're with one who would be of better use to get you into his lab."
I meant magical detection.
Well,
Or divine scrying, whatever they call that.
that's as simple as he gestures to the pot of stew.
Isn't that bad?
This food is perhaps not what you seek. However, you can already make what you seek.
don't have the right ingredients, I don't think.
Don't you?
Like, look at you like, what?
I don't have any of Zephyr left. I already ate it.
She admitted it right to his face.
I mean, I knew it.
I do not
Just
need to
it's different to
consume
actually hear
him.
it.
Simply his magic. Have him assist you in the prep for your meal.
Hey. Okay.
Just inject lightning into it. By the
It's
way,
time to go.
Packer, just so you know, she only has a few months.
Weeks.
6 weeks.
Oh, 6 weeks. So about a month and a half before her dragon sickness takes over. She was already succumbed to blindness just the other day, or just today. Still
But didn't
today.
worry.
Return if time grows short. I will make you a last supper.
Tiku will. But first, Tiku needs to catch a bird.
Yes, and bring him here.
Tiku has one more mission before she can die. I have to stop the bird.
Yes, he must be stopped. For good.
I just see on his face he's just thinking of like chicken legs and must try to
Is there anything else you wish to ask him, or do you leave at that point?
Tiku's ready to go.
As you get up and you go to leave, and you guys head back towards the door. As you reach out to open it, the door seems to go almost more stone-like, rather than the wood of what would be this cabin door. Almost like in a little bit of confusion, you look back, and you're again in that almost prison yard. The Packer is now looking back up at the balcony above him.
before we leave, or before I leave. Like, by the way, nice collection, and then I leave.
Okay. You guys exit back out into the town, now getting fairly late. What do you guys wish to do?
So Razu plucked his own feather to do the whole like grim psychometry thing. Where did he do that? And would I know about it? I don't remember where he did it.
He did it in the alchemy lab, I'm fairly confident.
Okay. So I probably wouldn't know about it.
No, you won't.
Sad.
By the way, Tico, do you ever feel like he's fattening you up to eat you later?
She's like, I don't care. It's the circle of life.
No, I mean, it's fine. I just wonder, do you ever think he's doing that?
He doesn't. I don't know. I don't know how gods work.
So while they were in there, I would have been talking to Thornhill.
Thornscale?
Thornscale. So we might have to break into Razlakar pretty quick here. Got any tips and tricks? People of the trade?
Tips and tricks is going to be a little bit more difficult, as I said before. Trade with Razakar has become, well, since they started protecting more individuals, we've ventured there less and less with time. That said, people or assistants that I do have. There are many people unhappy with where they live. Razlakar, Zinderhold, Cartivel. We've picked up a few. As he kind of like looks back to his tent. As I kind of imagine that you guys had come out with them, and yeah, he's currently just like outside the tent talking with you. Looking back to the tent, he says, "We've picked up many individuals who would know many different ways to get in and out of Razlakar. Are you thinking a more covert entrance, or perhaps a more bold front entrance. I guess, what kind of help are you looking for?
Probably the covert.
People that know the city, the covert kind, probably. I feel like we have at least one or two ways to get into the city, but we don't know what to do once we're there.
So, do you simply wish for an escort, and then perhaps, like, disguise kits?
That would help. Also, somebody that knows the layout of the city, preferably, knows what we should and shouldn't do to rat ourselves out. You know, that kind of stuff.
I have a few people that I could ask. I cannot guarantee it, as I said, when they start to trade in people, I become less involved. These are my friends. But I can definitely ask around and see if maybe any would be willing to help you. What time are you all planning on leaving?
I don't know.
Tomorrow.
Depends on what Zephyr and Tiku want to do, but I've wanted to bust in for days.
Preferably after Bellamdor gets here.
I would hope that he would be here tomorrow, but that is one that I can't guarantee either, unfortunately. There's just full transparency there. But I'll send a word to him. I'll see if perhaps he might arrive on the morrow, and I'll ask some of the merchants, see if anyone is willing to serve as an escort to you. I can think of 3 that are familiar with Razlakar, specifically, as I assume the intention would be, the Roslian lab. Need someone to
At least somebody that knows where it is, at the very least. If they know more than that, that's great. But
well, in that regard, I could help you out. It's in the Rosilian Chapel. The Rosilian Chapel includes the lab, the school, as well as, well, really think of most of your commercial trades.
somebody that knows how they're like master teleport into the school. That would be useful information.
The headmaster's network, yes. Do any of my 3 know of that? One may, actually. In fact, I have one that was... I wonder if Cario would be of assistance. He's a son to one of the teachers in the High Chapel.
The current teachers?
I assume he's still a current teacher.
And he's not going to be mad that we're sneaking into his dad's lab and potentially stealing people?
I mean, a combination of 2 things. 1, from my understanding, he was adopted. 2, as I said, many of the merchants I have were unhappy with where they were. There's a reason that he is no longer in Razlakar. But again, it is not something I can guarantee, but I'm happy to meet with him. Perhaps for tonight, you could find a place to rest, whether it be in the village or... If you can't find one, again, you're welcome to stay within my home.
I'm used to sleeping in trees, so I can sleep anywhere, but I'd be happy to sleep in a bed if you have one.
Yes. Again, I was originally going to have you sleep in the carnival area, but if you are no longer needing a secure place, I can get you a much better room.
I feel like Gurgle's preferred sleeping arrangement is in a tub.
Just water. It doesn't have to be a tub.
Well, yeah. But it's just it's a water bed, but it's just water.
just instead of having the cover on the water on the top, you just have 4 corners that keep the water there. And you just lay in it.
I will procure you some rooms. As soon as Tiku and Zephyr return, just meet with one of our guards. I'll inform them that they are to escort you to some nicer rooms.
Excellent.
Well, hopefully we can all reunite in the morning, and I do mean all of us. And assuming that we can, and I hope we can be of assistance. I'll meet with Cario tonight, as well as the other 2 in mind. Not sure Zarban would be of good assistance to you, but I'll meet with each of them and see who might be of assistance. And yes, I guess past that, it is... I apologize. There are nights I spend staying up late celebrating, but I don't feel much in the mood to celebrate tonight. Razu did kind of throw off my whole vibe for the evening.
He's kind of weird today. I will say he's not normally that weird. He's usually weird.
Well, for now I will retire and only pray that I don't have nightmares of this interaction. Let the guard know when you wish to sleep. At this point, Thornscale goes back to the tent. I assume you'd be waiting around for Tiku and Zephyr to return, right?
Tiku's interactions with the pack are usually varied in distance. It's either a few minutes or a few hours.
I'm just passing the... Clay Beekman is passing the time, making contacts, networking.
You wouldn't be able to really network at this point just because it's really late at night.
Oh, that's the best time.
In a...
Late night.
I would say go...
companionship.
No, actually... So you would actually head into Thornscale's tent and you'd effectively rejoin the celebration or the merry group of merchants that all seem to... Again, it almost seemed as if they were partying when you guys had first arrived. You simply find your way back in. Thornscale not wanting to re-enter the celebrations, but Clay Beekman quickly finding himself at home amongst the celebratory games and celebratory dances. Would be a carousing check.
So that would be...
Persuasion?
Persuasion, yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead and make a persuasion check.
I'm going to go ahead and use... I think I... Do I have... It hasn't been a long rest yet, so hold on, let me check. I think I have one more luck point.
Can you get lucky tonight?
Well, just to see if making contacts...
I was making a pun.
Oh, nope, I'm out of luck point, so I'm just doing a straight roll. Oh. I got a 2 plus 2, so 12.
Okay.
Tough crowd today.
They're just
You
all
find
drunk.
you find in the jovial and playful nature of the Thornscale merchants, the different games that they're playing, as well as the interactions at hand. While you do actually have some good relationship building, you're able to build on friendly terms with a few of these individuals. There's no business deals to be had. It is more so partaking in building friendships more so through games and drink.
Well, that's still an investment, so...
Indeed. With that, waiting, I'd probably say about 20 minutes. Tiku and Zephyr would return.
Just want to talk to Guru real quick.
JK. First off, I almost called you a Kiro. I wasn't like all the way back. First off, again. Talks to Guru.
So I assume our likelihood of ending back to Zindahung to deal with Gerbu is null and void at this point.
Well, we can't even make a challenge without our official leader, right?
Technically, we're still part of his team. We could be the ones to make the challenge. He's just the head.
Is that how that works?
The head is the one who actually has to make the challenge. You can be challenged without your head, but the leader of your seat has to actually be the one to issue the challenge.
I don't think we can challenge without Razer. I'm pretty sure you're wrong on that.
You can't challenge us because he's a higher seat.
So we could talk to Gerber, but I don't think it would be very fruitful. Also, I think separating us from him would be wise at this point. We don't want to tip. As of yet, I don't think we've spilled the beans around Razu that we think that Gerbu is the one with the prime blood, so I think right now he's probably safe.
Squawk is the one who told us Gerbu has the blind blood.
So, quick reminder there, just because it was weak. Gerbu has
A portion.
a portion of the prime blood, is what he had said. Says that he has the ability to command low-tier dragons.
Oh, that's
and
right.
so he is specifically, Squawk's current goal is to target those in Gerbu's family, because he believes if he's got a piece of it, someone in his family might have the basically the full prime right.
I mean, I guess now that I'm remembering this piece of information that I didn't remember, it wouldn't be a terrible idea to maybe recruit Gerbu, I guess.
Based upon how the previous conversation went, I doubt that is going to work out.
I think he might change his mind when we tell him that our ravenous, crazy bird friend is the guy that's been taking his family and torturing them to death.
Or that might make him trust us less.
Why would we come back and tell him?
To get him on our side. To bring him to the bird.
I think you think these kobolds are way more skeptical than they are.
I think they're plenty skeptical.
I think they're just angry. You just point them in the right direction.
Underestimating your opponents is not the most wise of tactics.
I mean, what do you want to do with him? Go to him and tell him you want to fight him? Like, what? I don't know what you're asking.
I have been tasked with the death of Gerbo. I
Well,
have not told Tiku, because I feel the information would upset her. As to
Sure.
why, is because I've been told by Olafel.
that
He is capable of controlling minor dragons. That alone is an affront.
Well, as fun as that sounds, I think at the moment, my loyal, no offense to you or your
I understand
dragon
completely.
or your dragon god, my loyalty currently is more to the kobold that's probably saved my life a lot, and her friends and family are being tortured. So, unfortunately, my last living relative passed away recently, but I know what it's like to lose the family, and if I can help her not have to go through that, that's what I'm gonna do.
That is fair.
No, wait.
In a few minutes, Tiku and Zephyr, in what for other individuals would look to be a fairly sketch scenario, seem to exit from the storage from this storage structure. But yeah, you guys see Kane and Gurgle.
How did it
at
go?
The end of the conversation.
I feel like there's like this crazy like random situation that happens. Like we get out and we're both just breathing heavy. Freaking onlooker's like, what just happened?
One of the villagers just like
Yeah.
walking out for like filling
Yeah.
filling up a pail of water at the well is like, really? And just goes back in one of the buildings.
One of the guys is like, yeah, let your freak flag fly.
The one-armed lightning wizard and the short kobold.
On a serious note, at this point, the four of you would meet back up. Clay Beekman absent. You two would notice. What do you want? What do you guys wish to do?
Tiku needs to talk to.
Crap. His name just went out of my head.
Gurgle?
Thornscale, yeah, wow.
Tiku needs to talk to Thornskill.
I think he just went to bed.
We need to get to
He's
steal
planning on
Makar.
meeting us in the morning.
Yeah, but what do you want to meet with him about? I might have already talked to him about it.
We need to get to Stelmakar to get to Razu. I have his missing piece.
He's in Stilmakar.
I meant Razakar.
I don't know why I keep mixing those up.
Those are very,
It works.
those
It's
those
canon for Tiku.
Those are very different places, Tiku.
I just learned about Razakar for some reason. I can't get it in my head.
Well,
The name
coincidentally, I already recruited his help on that, so we're meeting tomorrow morning with somebody that might be able to help get us in.
Oh,
Okay, one thing first. My arm. Where are we in that process? I forget.
We left the city, so
Last note, Kalmia said that she was going to go try and effectively expedite the process for you.
Okay.
and then we were supposed
she
to be
was
notified,
Eric.
but they don't
Talk
know
to
that we
Eric.
left.
She was going to talk to Theric and see if she could maybe get him to basically
she'll
respond
figure a way to
quickly
do
as
that.
he, in her words,
paper birds.
operates on his own
can
clock.
just use sending, but he's never met us.
Yeah, but there's also paper birds, so. Okay, I just was thinking that in mind. Okay. So should we practice cooking? I'm not quite sure how to.
oh, we can do that in the morning.
You want her to cook more of you?
No, it's something the Packer was
Tiku thought the same
asking us to do, but I'm needed in the process to help her cook, so I need to get familiar with it.
She looks like she's looking at you like you're the next sandwich.
She already ate my arm.
That's why I think
that's
she's
enough.
thinking about you as the next sandwich.
No, Tiku doesn't want to lose another friend.
Yeah, but like, what about a finger?
What is the plan with Gerbu?
They're not a plan at the moment. Tiku needs to go to get the bird.
And we gotta take whatever kobolds are still alive out.
And rescue friends.
I think Gerbu is something that we are going to tackle later, after we get the whole Razu thing settled. And
How much later?
When we can get to it.
I mean, just whenever it happens.
I don't think he's going anywhere.
We need to get back. We need to get Razu back so we can even challenge the seat.
One of the four seats of the city. I
He's
feel like.
pretty much untouchable at the moment for us.
When I also feel like he's probably not going anywhere. He probably doesn't leave the city very often if he's one of the top 4 seats.
And then on top of that too, if you want to, otherwise the other option is to attack him and then deal with the repercussions of Cho'Gall or Kogal. So I don't think that's going to be the smartest plan unless we want to try to take the first seat
I
already.
think for now we just leave him alone and we go bust some kobolds out. I've been saying we should do this for 3 days.
And
That's what Tiku wants to do.
I also think that'd be the smart idea, considering we know he's tied up in all of this mess anyways, somehow. Probably be good to... And then also getting some leverage with maybe saving some of the other kobolds, potentially, if he actually does care.
I'm certain Zinderholt has some process if the leader of a seat dies.
He's not
According to
dead.
But he's
your,
not dead yet.
Yeah, but if
according to
And actually-
Zephyr's theory, he did die.
Actually, we would know right away because if memory serves, when we were in Zaprakar and Goliath gave him the actual talisman or orb, I can't remember if it was a talisman or an orb, but it actually signifies that you're the seat holder, and if you die, it automatically goes to whoever picks it up. So, pretty sure that's how they recognize who the leader is.
that's how Razu got his.
Pretty sure the Goliath that held that seat gave him the
And
thing.
if the seat holder dies to a purple worm, and the orb is inside of the purple worm, is the
if-
purple worm now the seat holder?
I think
I don't know.
I think if no one comes to claim the seat after some time, then
Maybe it just teleports
then
back.
The normal ascension happens of seats.
You
Or
do
maybe-
forfeit
maybe-
a fight
maybe-
if you get challenged.
You guys would
Maybe
actually
the
know this
item
is, especially you.
just teleports back.
What it would be, the seat would actually, even if someone was dead, unless they were confirmed dead by somebody, which if they were confirmed dead, they could just take the coin and take the seat. If they're not, though, the way that it would work is someone would issue a challenge. The challenge would not be responded to within the time
then they
frame,
would take the seat.
and then they would take the seat.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering because technically we're the seat holders. Razu's just the captain, so why would we not be the seat holder still?
You guys could issue a challenge for the right to the
And
right to the lead
then
the seat.
Then if Razu didn't
That,
come,
that would be so that's an inner seat challenge, and that is also something you could do. And then if Razu didn't answer your inner seat challenge, you would then take over as the leader of the leader of the.
But that
3
process
months,
is
though.
months.
It is a 3-month process. They have
And
the window to open. or to answer.
Unfortunately, based off Tiku's condition, she would have passed before then. So
This sounds too smart for Tiku,
we
but
need to do what we can.
If we want to throw him off, though, we could always issue a challenge that we want to take his seat. Maybe it'll make him think that we aren't coming for him.
I'm not sure why that
Look
would.
over here, but we're actually coming to raid you, kind of thing.
Oh, you're saying draw him back to Zinderhold.
Act
No.
like we're trying to draw him back to Zinderhold,
By issuing a challenge.
but then
But-
go
but-
to
But
Razakar.
there's a slight different problem, though. If he does accept the challenge and it gets pushed really soon,
So
might
we
not-
have to be back there in time.
That-
We still have a 3-month window to accept an acceptance.
do we? Is that how that works?
If we
To
issue the
respond?
challenge, do we?
Sorry, I was so in my
So-
head about
so-
something. What
So
was
if
the
you
question?
issue a challenge, they have 3 months to accept. If they accept, we still have 3 months to realize that they accepted, yes?
No, you cannot.
no, you
you cannot
can't
decline a
accept.
challenge. If you are challenged, you
No,
now have
and-
3 minutes to
Or
like
3 months
fight.
to fight, yeah.
Yes.
But what I'm
then,
saying is,
like,
if
let's
say
we
they
challenge
accept
them
and we wanna
and
set
they
a
accept
date.
tomorrow, do we have to fight the next day? Even though we would not be able to get to Zinderhold there normally.
Do either party get to
In 2
determine the
days?
date?
No, the challenger gets to determine the date. After the the way that it would work, basically, to full order of operations, you'd issue a challenge to a higher seat. Higher seat would then accept the challenge. That has to be done within 3 months. As soon as it is accepted, the expectation would be that the lower seat or the challenger basically puts forth terms. Then the terms would get agreed upon, and the date for the fight would.
How
get
long
issued.
do you have to
say
agree
1
upon the
week.
terms? A week.
say-
So we have a week.
After they accepted, you'd have a week
So
to
that-
issue your terms, and
that-
then they'd have a week to respond to those terms,
Yeah.
That's
and then the
enough
date
time.
would be set.
Well, that could.
Didn't
That can be a back and
potentially
forth where it
backfire
continues
on
to
us.
go week
Yeah.
and week.
Like
Didn't-
On the
potentially
terms.
backfire on us, though.
didn't the god guy get to set up the terms of the fight?
Talos set up the terms of the fight because you were betting something that wasn't the game. That was because Zephyr basically issued a challenge to Talos in there, and then Talos set terms for the fight, which he agreed to, and because he was the challenger, it'd be like if you offered terms to Gerbu. Gerbu was like, how about these terms? And you're like, we accept.
A
That's
lot,
what happened.
Yeah, a lot of those terms weren't like Zinderhold specific.
They weren't officially regulated.
Yeah.
Got it. Well, I mean, as of right now, I think we just go to bed and we meet with this guy tomorrow so that we can figure out how to bust into a city that doesn't want us to bust in.
It's true. I do need to prepare some
I have an idea.
abilities, so I'm going to get started on that. Do we have any rooms?
Yeah, he actually gave us some nice
Thornscale.
rooms. Thornscale gave us some nice
We
rooms.
merely need to talk to him.
Oh, hi, you. I didn't
I mean,
even see you
did we
there.
need to talk to him? I thought he
No.
just set
The
him
guard.
The guy standing right there.
As the
Oh,
guard,
hey.
one of the two guards that you guys had interacted with initially, just
I'm Zephyr. What's your name?
that wasn't loud. I'm sorry. He just what's his
It's a
hand
good thing
up.
your drink wasn't there.
True. 2 times, one night. Let's go.
That's right. He told me to talk to that guy.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't notice you here.
It's no worries. It's part of my job. Yes, if you're ready to retire, Thornscale did ask me to escort you
Yes,
to your
if-
quarters for the
Yes,
evening.
you can show me. Anyone can come with.
He prepared individual rooms for each of you, or you can bunk up. How would you like to stay?
I'm probably going to be riding throughout the night, so I'll probably have my own room.
Nobody likes to cuddle with me.
It's because you're kind of slimy. A little
Zephyr's
cold.
obviously thought about it.
I can stop the slime just temporarily, just so you know.
Discuss this and then let me know how you want the room arrangements to go.
I just have my own room.
But it's okay.
So-
I don't wanna snuggle up to a pokey-haired, one-armed guy either.
Okay, so individual room.
Fine with me.
Are both of you just also getting individual rooms?
I'll take an individual room. Yeah.
Okay. So he escorts you into the tent.
I would.
As he brings each of you to the rooms, they are uncannily to your taste. Based on what you had said, Zephyr, there's a bed that almost seems a footnote to what is a nicer writing desk. It has inks prepared on to a side. There is like effectively a stack of paper that you could utilize to actually be able to write on. Effectively, the room that is prepared for you is more like a study. For you, Gurgle, as you look into the room prepared for you, it is
Water
almost
bed.
more of a bathhouse. Kind of a lower level to where it's very easy for you to either lounge. There's effectively varied levels to it to where you could lounge, not fully covered, or you could completely submerge yourself, along with some bedding off to the side should you wish to have it. And then effectively a small table where it looks like it'd be a great place to play like cards or specifically games that you're like. The first thing that goes to mind is playing games where you might be able to utilize your sleight of hand.
I'm just picturing like all the clean water, and I just dive into it, and then like my freaking toxic stuff just starts making the water slowly turn green.
You slowly
Like a
corrupt
swamp.
what is a very, very nice room. And effectively in a similar fashion for each of you, the ideal conditions you'd have for a room seem prepared for you. Like, it's almost as if Thornscale knows you incredibly well. as these rooms are paired.
Or, magic tent.
Or has a magic tent that suits your taste for your rooms. But
Tiku doesn't know that.
he's a
Tiku's
very
not smart enough to put
thoughtful
that
man.
together.
No,
But
Tico
yes.
already loves Thorn Scale. It's fine.
Each of you has a room prepared
She's like, this
specifically
guy
for
is
you.
a wizard. He
that-
knows everything.
That is very nice and suited to your taste.
Mine is like a cave. But warm cave. And it has like a little fire pit for her pot.
Fire pit with a pot that smells of like a fresh stew no matter what happens. The whole place reminds you of a pleasant night with family.
With like, and then like a stove over here where she can cook desserts.
Okay.
Hello.
With that, is your
I was just saying that I need to speak to Orlevale real quick. At least attempt to. I would, in my room, I'd be pacing back and forth for probably about 5 minutes before I would grab my pendant and basically just start speaking aloud. Orlevale, it appears that circumstances outside of my control has forced Gerber to remain alive as of now. I still plan to follow through, but it will take longer than originally anticipated.
you would actually hear an answer back in your head. It says, patience is something that we must have in abundance to reach our goal. Don't tarry too long, but this setback should not hinder us much. I will take precautions. Perhaps get your sister involved. Play along for now. We will address the kobolds as necessary then. What's the last thing?
And I'll summon back Malrith if she does not want to be on guard duty anymore.
As you effectively recall her, you almost like get almost like a startled like. I was
I will not.
nothing to report. That's all she says.
Sharp-eyed piggy seed gurgy run.
I will head to bed.
Okay. So with that, you guys all have your rest. So you would have a long rest.
Tika's going to through the night hold the orb and see if she can absorb it like she saw that the soul did. And then she's also going to try, I don't know if I tried this already, but like try cooking it into a soup or like food to see if it like dissolves, for lack of a better word.
Okay. As you're making the meal,
In her pot, obviously.
funnily enough, actually, as the room prepared for you using the pot
She's
that was
like
there.
trying to do more orb stuff because she feels not strong enough.
So as you the previous night, like going into the evening, as you start to cook and you originally start with the pot that's actually prepared in the room, you're quickly able to determine that not only does the food not quite cook in the same way, not quite to your liking, but even as you taste it, you realize that some of the potent effects that your food normally has don't seem
To carry.
to carry. It does seem that a large portion of that is actually tied to this pot that was given to you by the packer. In addition to that, as you try and actually effectively like conjure that soul piece to actually make it into the food, with the original pot, as you originally started to use that one, you realized that you were unable to, but as soon as you replaced it with your own, you very much so, almost the soul almost turning into like a liquid. As you think about it, it almost as if your palm had started to sweat.
So I wasn't trying to take Razu's soul. I'm trying to take the orb that he gave me earlier.
Oh, apologies.
Yeah, no, I'm not trying to cook Razu's soul right now.
I thought you were just like trying to like prepare a meal. Okay, the effect would still be the same. Effectively, with in normal cooking, you're not able to glean the same kind of effects. That said, as you use the Packer's pot, I should come up with a better name for that. As you use the Packer's pot and start to practice more with it, you effectively are just continuing to try and hone your craft in that regard. Then
Trying to like stew the orb that he gave me into the pot, or like suck the essences out, and then I've also like tried to just sit with it and pull the essence out myself, or like pull it out and put it in the pot. However, it ends up.
You're able to pull some of it into the stew, but you very much so get the impression, or you're able to quickly determine that even as you're pulling this essence out of this orb, it's almost as if you're losing flavor. Parts of it's almost as like it's leaking. When you're pulling it out, you're not being precise with it. You're losing a lot of the potency or whatever it is that the Packer is seemingly able to almost effortlessly incorporate into his cooking. A lot of that potency you're not able to retain. You get parts of it, but it is very hard to get that same potency, and you don't know what you're doing wrong.
Even having it in the soup like as a base and pulling it out in the soup, it doesn't change it.
Not that you can tell right offhand.
Eventually, like 2 or 3 in the morning, she gives up and puts it back under her hat and goes to sleep.
Okay.
You could just call it the Lost Pot or the Lost Cauldron.
It's not a bad idea. We'll work on that. With that being the case, as you guys are all going into a long rest for the evening, that is where we're going to go to break. I have a little bit of a slower start with me spilling my drink everywhere. But we'll be back in a few minutes to see if we can't come up with a plan to break into Roslakar. So, yeah. See you guys in a bit. Bye-bye. And we're back. And no spilled drink this time.
Don't say too soon.
Okay, so first off, we have a tie. As Casey has voted for Gurgle, and Jasmine voted for myself. So the way we're going to do this is me and Gurgle are just going to roll off against each other. Just straight roll, and whoever goes higher gets the inspiration. 6.
18.
Gurgle is inspired. Gurgle has won.
Dice.
So, with that, long rest now completed. You all wake up the next morning. Fairly quickly, Thornscale actually greets each of you in the morning and effectively comes to collect you and brings you to what is effectively a dining hall. It has 2 longer wooden tables with a third table that has just effectively a full breakfast platter set out with different like meats, sausages, breads, cheese, and then what appears to be some effectively a couple containers of milk. No alcoholic beverages, unfortunately. Is by and large empty, apart from each of you. After he is able to collect each of you, and he actually brings you in, he says, "Well, first and foremost, apologies we didn't have more people joining you for breakfast. They stayed up fairly late with their machinations last night. It seems Mr. Beekman has riled them up just slightly, and they drank perhaps a little bit too much of your fine wares. With that being the case, I was able to meet your request, Gurgle, and first and foremost, you're welcome to some breakfast foods. But with that, the last one I was going to invite in here is Cario. He's someone who's familiar with Razlakar and has business and interest in returning. So he just kind of gestures towards the initial tent flap. Go ahead and describe what you look like.
Okay. So we got like a 6-foot elf with a spontaneous language that none of you speak carved into his cheeks.
That none
got-
of us speak?
What?
That none of us speak?
None of
like
you
that?
speak. I'm quite sure. Unless any of you speak Shadar-kai.
Okay.
Is Shadar-kai a language?
They have their own language.
Well, they spoke Elvish.
I'm pretty
Continue for now.
I'm not sure it's called Shadar-kai,
Just
but
continue description.
it's like Shadar-kainian. I don't know.
Okay. We'll
Black hair, wearing just like a royal merchant, very wealthy merchant's robes.
Any weapons?
He's quite tall.
You would notice
6 foot.
that he has 2 shadow pockets. You can see that his pockets seem to have magical darkness in them.
Nice.
They do actually speak Shadar-kai. It's its own language. It is both the race as well as the language they speak. So it would effectively just look like he has symbols carved into his face. Kind of spreads from his forehead down to a cheek. With that, Thornscale says, "Forgive his appearance, he's not as scary as he seems. But this is Cario. He grew up in Razlakar, actually. Raised, as I said to you, he is the one whose father was one of the teachers there. Specifically, the teacher that he knows would be Odestrom, a long-standing teacher who's been long on the tail end of his life. It's kind of surprising he's still around, but very well respected. Took him in as I don't know. I don't know if it was out of pity or curiosity. He's known as a fairly involved teacher. He gets very invested into the work that he does. So, with that, Cario, they are simply looking, as I said to you last night, they are wishing to make their way to Razlakar, although I don't know the exact means by which they look to enter, but you are the only one who's familiar with the inner workings of Razlakar, and especially the Razilian Chapel. He wasn't actually a student, but much to how you had discussed last night, Gurgle, he knows his way about lurking behind corners, I guess is the way that I would say it. Watch your purses. and enjoy breakfast, I guess. I'm simply going to take a seat. So, by all means, introduce yourself, carry on, and see if you might
You're
be of
saying he
assistance
likes to
them.
steal stuff?
I was actually just making fun of him because he actually doesn't know how to sell. He's not very good in that regard, but he is trustworthy.
So you're saying he's a bad merchant?
He's trustworthy, and that is worth a lot. However,
So he's a
does
bad
still-
merchant and he can't steal stuff.
Is he saying that you can't lie? Is that what makes you a bad merchant?
Don't worry. I can lie, and he must jest. I'm one of the best. Quite friendly, despite the appearance. Thank my parents for that.
Did your parents put the tattoos on your face?
That is what I just said.
Well, that's not exactly what you said, actually.
It was implied.
I'm just making sure. Sounds like some shitty parents.
Quite.
sits
Sorry
down
if
and starts
that
to eat
offends
with
you,
a
though.
broad smile.
I don't mean anything like really bad about that. If you care about them, that's okay.
I'll find them.
You have to forgive
They'll
the
pay
effort.
for it.
He hasn't seen his
In
mom
full.
and dad in a while.
But the grumpy old man is, well, very serious. He's quite a jolly old folk. Very kind-hearted. Took me in.
You're speaking of Oderstrom.
Indeed. I just call him Bobs. But,
Oh boy.
for me personally, I would just walk in through the front door, but from what you told me last night, it doesn't seem that you guys can do that.
Suffice it to say, we're being hunted by Azal's assassins.
And from what he said, you had a
Alternative means of entry.
alternative? Alright. So, either I can travel with you to your alternative way
So-
of transport, sounds questionable. Could get you in trouble for sure.
How
Sure thing.
does the masters use their little teleport into the academy thing?
Effectively, they'd activate it via an item in their possession. It's like effectively, it very much so is an item that's linked to it that you use as a trigger. It's also how they can pass it to somebody else.
Every person has a keepsake. Come in different shape sizes. They can be almost whatever they want. They just bind the magic to it. And it can take them to their specific assigned teleportation.
What's the magic called? Is it like recall? Like the cleric spell? Like I thought?
I'm pretty sure it's just teleportation. Would it be closer to recall than teleportation?
Yes.
Yes. The most comparable spell would be recall.
I don't know what my grandpa would have used. And he died recently, so I don't know if I can use his, but
Would I know if the keepsakes can transport more than one person?
It's like a circle.
that's also how the cleric spell works.
Did I know his grandpa? Also, another thing. And elves don't age very slowly. I'm pretty sure Shadowkai are the same. But
Elves age extremely slowly.
That's
but this is like an 80-year-old elf.
He meant it backwards.
I don't
sure.
think we would be able to tell that you're 80 years old. But
So-
if you told us, I guess we would know.
Just so
Did you
you
say
know,
age or
between the ages of 50 to like 100, you're like 18 to 25 human-wise. Just
You
so you
age and mature slowly.
know. So if you're like looking for 30 human-wise, you'd probably be closer
I
to like
age
150.
normally, but I mature slowly.
Would that line up with the teacher?
You'd be like
Age normally, but I.
you would be like yeah,
For what I described to you, what would be the most accurate age?
yeah, you'd be like 80 to 100.
So you're a little on the
You're
younger
92.
All right.
We have no idea how old you are.
Well, to you, I'm probably considered an older folk.
Everybody's older,
But as an elf, I'm quite young.
except maybe
side.
Tinker.
Was it Cairo?
Cardio.
Cario. Are you capable of holding yourself in a fight? As I said, we are being hunted by Atos assassins. It's entirely possible they'll
Also, are you attached to...
swoop down on us.
Are you attached to anybody in the city? Like, if they try to attack us and we kill them?
I'm answering this question first. I said Cario and I rolled with it. Sounds fine.
I don't have an R in there.
This is your name. I messed it up on purpose.
Oh. I thought you did that because that's what you thought it was, and I just wasn't going to correct you because I thought that sounded fine as well. But if that is not the case, I would have corrected him as I walked in. Cairo.
Kyle.
I'm lost.
I'll have you know, he named this character.
I'll have you know, I'm sorry. I made the character sheet and I forgot to name the character
Cairo.
until today.
Kyle.
Oh.
So Kaio.
Kaio.
Like K-Y-O.
Kaio.
Yeah.
Like King Kai. Oh.
King Kaio.
So are you capable of holding yourself in a fight?
Quite.
But you didn't answer my question. Are you attached to anybody that we might have to kill? Because we're busting her friends out. And apparently there's people in the academy that probably don't want us to do that.
Well, I'm going there to see an old friend. Known as the Alchemist. I knew him back in his school days.
Clarify. Is this alchemist a Kenku?
Squawk, one and only.
Yeah.
Old friend, you say?
We're
Back when I knew him, he was dedicated to the craft.
What's
That's all he cared
feelings
about.
towards the man now?
Don't know. That's why I'm going to see him.
Yeah, he's a bad guy. He's
What
the one
happens
that
if we were to say, you know, we're going to go kill him?
he's the one that's killing all of Tiko's friends.
Depends.
No, I mean, like, we're telling you that now.
We're going to put Squawk down.
So,
I'm mostly doing it for the clearance of mind, from what I've heard. If it's true. Depending on who you are, you have every right to.
when...
But I
Heard
just
it
know.
from his own mouth. So
And you, what's your feelings towards the man? Just want closure for something?
We were just high school friends. You just, fade away from
And
your
you're-
acquaintances as you move on with your life.
Okay,
And then they become
as
mass
though-
serial killers?
You're fine for you to lead a group of effectively assassins to go kill him.
If you can.
I mean, I just the story doesn't quite line up.
My point is I'm going there to figure out from him why he did it. I'm a lawful man. If he must be put to death,
So he did do something.
I don't know. That's why I'm going to see him. But if he's done a crime worthy of death, from what I've heard, if he has done these deeds, very accurate, but I must hear it from him myself.
Okay. So let's say, okay, I do have to ask, what do you suspect of him doing on your front?
what have you heard, rumor-wise, that you're clarifying?
That he's been killing gullbolts in the name of power for his son.
Then what does that mean for you if he has been?
Well, means I either have to restrain him, or if he won't let me, kill him. But I don't think myself that capable. I saw him work. I couldn't kill him myself. Not alone.
We have confirmation that the rumors you've heard are true from his own mouth. Again, you're probably still wanting to ask him yourself,
Indeed.
but be prepared for the worst.
And prepared for him to lie to you.
I mean, it's probably like...
I know Squawk. He wouldn't lie to me.
Probably like a childhood friend
You
that
knew Squawk.
you turn it...
I was friends with the man. In fact, I hooked him up with his wife. He never got out that much. You think he could have met a girl by himself?
Zephyr just looks at him blankly. I was friends with someone once. And maybe you'll learn that story one day.
Did you know
But
a
people
guy?
change.
Did you
I know.
Did you know a guy?
But as a friend, I want to hear it from him.
I mean, I think it's more like you had a friend, and then he became a mass serial killer.
Okay,
But,
we
you
can
know.
stop interrogating Kaido
But the
now.
po-
He
I-
understands
like,
the point.
I wasn't interrogating, but I wasn't gonna interrogate him about that. But I did want to know. Did you know a guy named Ziltor from your school days?
No. Who the fuck is Iltor? In fact, I was there for quite a while, and I'm quite sure no one attended that school under the name Ziltor.
What if he referred to himself as the Black Mage?
Well, that would be my other friend, Serval.
That's what I meant.
Dumbass.
Ziltor, Serval, they're kind of the same people, right?
No.
Not even close.
Anyway, listen, he's been dead for a while. I forgot his name for a second, okay?
Dude, just gotta ask. You know someone by the name of Zestaria?
Indeed.
You know of.
I know of her. Never met her.
And what do you know of her?
I know she is Serval's adopted child.
She's also Zephyr's hidden girlfriend, although he doesn't want us to know about it. They keep squeaking their looks at each other.
It's just
Well, that's
canon.
weird.
Like, am I supposed to retort to this?
He's been doing it several times.
Listen, you don't have to hide it anymore. We all saw how she was looking at you.
How about you put down the fan fiction?
Listen,
I feel like at this point, Gurgle's got a book series.
I'm not the one.
He's just writing Tusk Love about Zestaria and fucking.
I'm not the one. I'm not the one getting all googly-eyed with her when she walks into the
He's
bar.
just been
okay?
like writing this as audience, like just keeps asking for these two characters to get together. So he's got that headcanon going with that. So he's trying to make it reality, try to have better reference material.
Thornscale pipes up at this point. He says,
I'm not making.
and now you see why I said he could still use practice as a merchant. He is better than I initially said. However, still much to learn.
What do you?
The way that I would call it is blanket face.
What does he sell?
The Raven Queen's juice is what people normally call it when they first see it.
I like to call it he sells dreams.
Come again.
That's a lot nicer. I should use that.
That's why he's the better merchant.
Again, the smile kind of the Thornscale is almost always smiling, but his smile broadens and he says, "Yes,
Where's
he
Mr.
sells
Bigman?
Right here.
dreams."
Oh,
As he's sitting down, just like a plate of food in front of him.
they're just so quiet over there.
He had a long night. Like, give him a break.
It's been a long night. Clay Beekman needs to refresh.
When's the last time you've been shot at, by the way?
Yesterday.
No, I meant like before yesterday.
Oh, before that? I'd have to say probably about 3 weeks ago.
Okay, so it's not that uncommon. I'm glad you made it, by the way.
It is uncommon for me to be shot at when I have allies in positions to prevent shootings.
Listen, there wasn't any indication that he was just going to shoot off an arrow.
Say
Nobody could have expected that would have happened.
Say that to Zephyr. There was 4 of us between him and him.
Listen,
He didn't care.
A couple things.
I tried to stop him.
A couple things that I would like to note for you all this morning, before you for sure land in your plan. First off, for what it's worth, I know most of our interactions up till now have been predicated on business, and especially for some of you, I've not worked with you as long. Just for you, Clay.
Speaking of which, how was the trade between you and Zoppercar been going?
It was going very well until the recent declaration against your group was made. Most of my connections came through your district, and as of right now...
Do you know what happened with the district?
Well, as of right now, Omritzen has declared martial law over it. They have not, for what it's worth, they have not denounced you as traitors, largely at the behest of Dalaran, who speaks heavily on your behalf, who has largely in part won the hearts of the people. Some say even some are even in favor of him over Omratin, as Omratin, since Mutalim's death, seems to have... He's different, is the easiest way that people are describing it. I haven't had the interactions with the High Prince as much myself, so I'm mostly going off of rumors. That is to say, it was going well until recently, and now it is still there, but less lucrative. Most of the trade right now is going through Baklaval and Ikladon, as neither of them have taken a firm stance against you.
He's someone capable of getting a message to Dalaran. We probably want to inform him that Razu's meeting that he set up with him is going to fall through. Or at least warn him that whoever shows up will not be Razu.
Or it will be Razu. Which is...
I don't have
really
a way to
terrifying
contact
thing.
him.
That may be a good idea, yes. But a couple other things just real quick before you make all your plans. First of which, our friend will be arriving soon, Zephyr. He asked if you'd be willing to wait, as it seems he's bringing you a gift. He was venturing a little bit further than I initially anticipated, but he is, again, he didn't tell me the exact details, simply said he'd be bringing you a gift.
I mean,
Apart from that,
how long?
he's not the most punctual dragon you've ever met. Hard to tell him to function on my schedule, based on the fact that he flies me around. That said, he said he'd be here in the early afternoon, perhaps even morning. He said morning, I'm expecting early afternoon.
I believe we can stick it around. No one's in a rush to go anywhere. I mean, obviously we need to go take care of things for you, Tiku, but you're okay with waiting until the afternoon before we start heading out, right? Potentially the next morning.
How do we plan on getting there?
Well, that is something I was going to leave you all to discuss. I simply
got that.
wanted to reiterate that while most of our interactions have been predicated on business, I hope you know that I do have your best interests are also mine. That is to say, I would not recommend someone to you that you cannot trust. His motivations, shallow as they may seem, he is exceedingly forthright and trustworthy with what he does do. Very simple in his direction. He kind of only focuses on one thing at a time.
I do need to ask, sorry, speaking of that, how are you in a fight?
I just asked that.
Oh, I missed that. How was he in a fight?
He said he's competent.
But like, what do you do?
He said he's
We'll
good at
say-
holding his own.
Yes, but like...
I stay to the shadows. In the front lines.
Okay, so we just kind of let you do your thing, right? You don't need any support in the back?
Nope. Been a solo until
Well, just to
I'm
explain...
at Thornscare, really.
Just to explain our dynamic, Gurgle's also quite the frontliner with Tiku, and Clay is a new member.
What can't I do in combat?
He's
Spells, melee, ranged, got it all.
we haven't
Complete
really-
package. Claire Beekman.
we haven't really figured out his role yet. Kane tends to float between two different roles. He's kind of a mid caster of sorts, and I'm a backline caster for the most part.
What he means by backline caster is he means he has an
That's
occasional
enough.
tendency to nuke
Apparently
his
there's a
friends
dog
with
here.
gigantic ass light bolts.
Oh yes, if you're just be warned, there's occasionally an explosion that will happen every now and again. If you get caught in it, I apologize.
I apologize.
Do you, though?
He means he might res you if he feels like it after frying your corpse.
I can't revivify anyone. I do not have that ability.
I can bring people back from the dead.
I'm pretty sure.
See, keep him alive.
But we do need to get some more diamond dust.
How much diamond dust?
I mean, you did say you wanted to start business relationships, and his Boy Scout just pivots off of
He's like diamond dust.
validating. How much were you thinking that you needed?
I need about 300 gold pieces. Where's the diamond dust?
That would be most. I have it, and for you, perhaps even a little bit of a discounted rate.
Would that even count for the spell?
I'm simply saying I'll give it to you for cheaper than it's worth.
Well, I know, but then you devalued the diamond dust, so there I would need more of
That's
it.
not how.
You know what? You're right. It's 300 gold worth of diamond dust, Clay.
I will take the discounted rate if it's still available.
We'll get you 250 gold worth of diamond
See,
dust.
now his Revivify won't work. It's got to be 300 gold pieces worth of diamond dust.
I'll
Still
send
worth it.
someone to
I mean,
fetch
the
it.
spell knows and accounts for inflation, I'm supposing.
Could you imagine if you could cast distort value on it?
Somebody's spell.
So, do we need this as an IOU, or do you have the gold on hand?
I have gold, yes.
Technically, I need to afford the other thing. So I would need to.
Unfortunately, I bet all my money.
Well,
I'll go ahead and give him 30 platinum.
okay. He gives you 300 gold worth of diamond dust.
Unless, as this is for the party, someone else is willing to spot me to 150.
I'll give him 10 platinum. Do you still need the
I
50?
still need 50.
I'll give him 15 platinum.
I will give.
I'm just watching Clay like this. I'll just.
Clay just
Unfortunately,
pulls out the
I'm-
dough.
My man's just funding freaking money bags over here.
I spent 70 platinum hoping that
is there-
Tiku
is
would
there a
chop a
bank
god's leg off, and she
nearby?
did not
I
do
probably
it.
do need to make a... take
Why
some
didn't you
money out.
bet on
Speaking of
Razu?
which,
I saw that
are there
fight.
banks in this world?
Didn't he cut two?
Listen, Tiku's the one that's always going
I assume
for the
there
leads.
have to be, right?
Money changers, I think, are what they were called.
Yeah, so it wouldn't be banks as much as individuals who that's what their profession is. So you'd find people that keep large amounts of cash on hand.
Well, yeah.
Oftentimes-
but could you save cash with them? They
Like
hold
if
on
you
to
like
it.
walk up to them and be like, "Hey, I have 1,000 gold.
And
Can
then
you
you
hold
could-
this?"
Oh yeah,
for me?"
very much.
And then
so.
you could go to like another part of their
There
their
are organizations,
championship and then
funnily enough,
draw from there.
as you're talking about it, Thornscale is like, well, I know that we're looking to establish business relations. Again, as he still has the money that you handed over to him. He's like, perhaps we could take this as an initial investment on some of your wines. Perhaps you could simply have them delivered. Our main headquarters, our non-mobile one, is located within... It's not quite in Plazet proper, but in a city just north, not too far from your vineyards.
Oh.
Perhaps we could take this gold as an initial deposit, and as he holds the bag back out to you, he says, if you could simply draft up a purchase order for some of your wines, and this could be the beginning of our relationship.
I think this is a very beneficial partnership.
Marvelous. I will go draft up the documents as well as procure the diamond dust for you. For the time being, Belamdor
I
says...
get my 45 platinum
Yes.
back? Okay.
Yeah. He's taking it, and then he effectively is...
You get 100 gold on top of that as well. As I assume you're taking my share.
No, I'm just taking what I gave you.
It would have been in the bag together.
Technically, yes. So you'd give him back the
I'd
100
give him
gold.
back his gold, because Clay Beekman is many things, but a thief is not one of them.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
But
This
if he was
is-
a thief, he'd be the best thief.
Yeah, that's right. We're a thief, that's right.
At this point,
Be pretty good, you wouldn't even know
Thornscale,
it.
Thornscale leaves, going to procure you diamond dust as well as draft up a purchase order for some of your wines made at the cost of the diamond dust that you are needing to procure, leaving you all in this fairly empty breakfast tent.
Not to judge, but a couple of you don't look like the most stealthy type.
He's got magic that makes people more stealthy.
I'll actually just tap my staff, and I'll be casting Pass Without a Trace, and basically heat waves almost seem to emanate, completely obscuring everyone's figure.
Would
Does-
distort them is
Or
effectively how
distort,
it would
yeah.
work. Like
Does
you're looking at a
the-
mirage in a desert.
Does the one arm tip you off on that?
Actually, it was the kobold wearing giant armor.
Well, most people just look over her anyways.
Not in Roslakar. You're literally one of the most wanted. Your entire party is.
This is why I informed you.
You got disguise
Did you
kits.
bring disguise kits?
And I
for us?
don't
know
think-
Paul asked about that already.
And I don't think stealth's gonna get us all the way.
I didn't say stealth. I think disguising.
I agree, which is what I was bringing up. I could talk to Thornscale.
Well,
Have them help us.
Hold on. Clay Beekman doesn't do disguises.
Well,
I mean, this is part of my brand. Saving the world, doing good deeds.
do you want
gotta
to
be
die?
You're not even willing to disguise yourself to save Tiku's friends.
As of
What I'm saying is you guys can sneak around, but Clay Beekman still got to be Clay Beekman. I can knock on the front door while you guys sneak around to the back.
What if, hold on.
What happens to the kid you got the front door?
Hear me out, Clay, though. What if we paint your face with some of your branding so that you look more festive?
Well, then I would look just like Clay Beekman because that's my brand.
Your
Perfect.
answer, Clay, is that one group has already discovered your affiliation with us. It is not too much of a leap to know that others have made the same connection.
And that is absolutely great news. Word of mouth advertisement is magnificent.
The scale of
It's free marketing.
Which means if you walk around with a car, you're guaranteed to have a death sentence.
I mean, if you want to be a decoy and get murdered, I mean, that's fine, I guess.
Hey!
But you're not going to do much business when you're dead.
I'm can do a lot of business, though. They won't just outright kill me.
How certain are you?
I'm about 100% certain.
And the arrow that was shot from the caravan says otherwise.
you
Well,
also
that guy clearly is not a connoisseur of wine.
you also know Assassin's whole thing is kill first, ask questions later.
So I wasn't aware that assassins asked questions.
Sometimes.
Speak with dead exists.
Yeah.
All right, so we're getting a little off track.
Well, we're trying not to have Clay commit suicide.
I mean, if he wants to,
I mean, it's
Well,
fine.
look, they may not recognize me
can
because I got
hire
this new drip.
We can hire another party member if you die, I guess, but it seems to be a revolving door lately.
that's too soon, Zephyr.
Hey, Augustus is probably on our
Segway.
trail.
Segway would be rolling in his grave for that comment.
I would,
And Terry.
Segue would just accept it as
And
part of the
Mollis.
cycle.
Terrible.
You were saying, Kyle.
Too soon.
I think I'm gonna go track down Thornscale and have him get you guys some disguise kits.
as I would lift up my cloak and turn into a raven, and then fly in his direction.
That's a cool trick.
Is he a druid?
Maybe. Maybe he's like 10.
He
Maybe,
is nothing.
hey, maybe this is how him and Squawk got along
You
so
turn
well.
into a dragon, he turns into a bird. I mean,
They're
both turning into creatures.
He's a bird. Squawk's a bird.
Could you not insult me? I would appreciate it.
Squawk's a crow.
Which is a bird.
When were crows not birds?
When they were the size of humans.
I guess one could argue that they're sort of dinosaurs.
As plans quickly devolve into chaotic conversation,
I'm mostly just waiting for the afternoon.
within a few
I would
minutes.
say we look for
speaking of
disguise
which,
kits.
I'm just gonna keep rolling it,
For
working on my
Tikudas.
scroll. Well,
Oh, that would be.
Well, no, you start cooking lunch with me
okay, I do that and work on the scroll.
at some point.
Okay. Thornscale would return with Kaio, but probably about 20 minutes later, and bringing back, he would give each of you 300 gold worth of diamond dust, as well as offering up a contract that he's just drafted, which is just a purchase order to be officiated by you.
I will read it over. If it benefits both, it is not one-sided on either way, because I don't want it to be too one-sided on my side either. I don't want to take advantage of him. I do want it to be a fair contract.
It very much so is. So you would you would already have at least information surrounding Thornscale, knowing him as a very reputable and trustworthy merchant. And this, as he actually gives you this purchase order and this agreement, these agreement terms for business, very clear that he seems to live up to the reputation that he's built across the Pleasant Plains.
I sign it.
Okay.
And then I stamp it with my seal.
Perfect. Okay, and then
Incredible.
he does also bring disguise kits as per the request of Kyle. And this is, as he comes back in, he's like, "So, did you arrive on any kind of a plan? Are you looking to maybe go in the front door? It's distasteful, but perhaps under the guise of offering Tiku to the alchemist."
So the
No.
plan is to get into Roslikar through a teleportation circle set up via Gurgle's home.
Actually,
We're fairly certain it will work.
there might be a quicker way, actually.
Now's the time to speak up.
Do the items that have these spells, are they all similar, or can they be like any item?
I'm assuming any item.
Usually a personal effect of the
Personal effect. Anything you want that could be enchanted with magic.
But it is the recall spell, correct?
Indeed. I
I
mean,
don't think that it is the perfect rendition, as teleporting into Roslikar does not work.
Put my hand in the thing and I look for a recall item. Recall spell item. Maybe?
A doll of Serval.
what are you doing?
Give me a second.
A personal effect, I'm assuming, is what you're looking for. Try a doll of Serval.
A doll? He wouldn't make a doll of himself?
How certain are you?
Dolls.
Razu knew him. Razu, do you know what his item was?
Yeah, Razer's definitely
Not
Razu, who's
Razu.
here?
Kaio.
You have Serval's personal effects.
What's Serval use as a teleporter?
I mean, from what I know about
Make a
him,
history check. Do you remember?
18.
18. You do remember. It's a doll of Zestaria.
A doll of his child.
Wait a second. Didn't she take that out of here?
But she put it back.
Oh yeah, she took the cat. Or the dog. The wolf.
The wolves.
I think it was like a slinky version of it.
would I have seen the voodoo doll of the Wiener Wolf?
The Wiener Wolf.
A wiener,
Into a wiener dog,
a
Well,
wiener dog.
but it's a wolf jackal thing.
he confirmed what I said.
That said,
We've already
the,
seen it.
Daughter.
the description
Well,
as they're
that's
like rapidly
all
describing
over.
it sounds like some of the creatures that are housed within the Rosilian lab.
How does one activate it as I pull it out?
Don't know. Never had one. I usually, again, walk through the front door, or a friend just took me with them.
Don't try and activate it now. We still have to wait.
Yeah, you have to disguise yourself first.
Do we? I mean, wouldn't we teleport into his own lab? I mean, we could just disguise it in there.
You know how many
Tiku.
people are
I'm gonna take
in
a few steps
the lab.
Gurgle, just FYI.
It's in his lab, though. They have their own personal rooms, from what I heard.
Tiku's gonna ask Thornscale for someone that can disguise her and use the disguise kit on her.
Thornscale with a broad smile, and he says, "That is something I am excellent at.
Look right.
What do you
I
want
would-
to look like?"
I would also help him with
Dealer's
that
choice.
with a bardic inspiration. You've been inspired, Tika.
Technically, you'd
Not
be
me.
inspired.
What
with
about inspired
Thornscale.
Wait, is Thornscale disguising her? Can
Yeah.
you do that?
Hey, that's usually how a disguise kit is applied. Is someone else applying it to
As
you?
I would pull out a lute and bardically inspire Thornscale, you, and Zephyr.
Whoa, damn.
He's got quite a few bardic inspirations.
That's some
Disguise montage.
disguise
He
montage.
plays his song. And
What is it, a
you guys spend the
what?
morning either crafting.
It's a D8.
A D8.
Either crafting or it also only lasts for an hour.
10 minutes.
It's like 10 minutes, I think.
10 minutes. Okay.
It would help with the initial inspiration for the design, I guess.
Thornscale is going to. Where's my die? There it is. Thornscale is going to disguise you.
No, it's the
as-
next hour. It's an hour.
Bardic inspiration only lasts 10 minutes.
No, lasts for an hour. I'm reading
He's
it.
going to disguise you as Kelmia.
Wait, that's not a good idea.
I'm halfling.
Also, it would be a midget Kelmia, right?
You can adjust by a foot. I think Kelmia is not that tall.
Yeah,
Oh, no,
Kelmia
wait.
is-
Kelmia is like 4 feet tall.
Kelmia is 4 feet tall. When I say he's going to make her look like Kelmia, it'd be like a sister of Kelmia, not to look exactly like her. He's making her into a halfling, and his inspiration is Kelmia, as Thornscale is familiar with the Dawnbringers. In fact, he's done some trade with them.
I didn't know you knew
2014.
Kelmia. She's pretty cool.
2014 is 10 minutes.
Stroking your ego
I
there,
will.
aren't you?
Clay Beekman will
We saw her on the ship
reluctantly
once.
put on a
She's
fake
terrifying.
mustache, bushy eyebrows, and a fake prosthetic nose.
We'll say that gives you.
He's Clay
plus.
Beekman's brother.
We'll say it gives them a -2 to a roll. Trying to determine who you are.
Wait, isn't that the guy off the thing? No, he doesn't have a nose like that.
Always
They never get my nose
Okay,
right.
so with that,
Must be a relative.
how are you all? How are you disguising yourself?
Let's kidnap him and then we can ransom him.
Worth noting, he's
Get
making
his
you look like
booty.
Kelmia, but rather than monkly attire, he's giving you priestly attire. Giving you a robe, unfortunately taking away your chef's hat.
Oh, mean. Zephyr, I need the amulet, please.
I mean,
It's on my neck.
Please?
What? Why?
Because I cannot wear my chef hat.
Just have me put it in.
No, but then the orb.
I could hold it for you.
So confused.
Zephyr!
Your loss.
Okay, so Tiku is going to be effectively disguised as a halfling in priestly garbs, resembling Kelmia.
And I had my flesh splitter and my thigh.
He is letting you keep your weapon hidden underneath.
Not my
your-
cloak or not my
underneath your
shield, probably.
robe. He's effectively dressing you as a halfling acolyte version of Kelmia. With that, as he's talking to you, and this is to each of you, as he kind of says it as a whole, he says, I would recommend having some kind of a story just in case you run into anyone or are questioned. The Resilient Lab is not off limits to the public. Well, that is to say, to the attending members of the Resilient Chapel. You have access to it, but it's also unruly. It's not exactly where most people look to go since the alchemist took it over. That, and courtesy of Odestrom himself, the creatures that roam the halls are interesting, to say the least. So I would just have some kind of preparation. If someone questions you, don't make it up on the spot.
Being as I'll be their guide, what specifically do you want the most out of trade in Roslakar?
I don't even know if I want to trade with Roslakar, but the main sources, or I guess you could say the main thing of value to trade with in Roslakar is their magic scrolls. As it is the school, as well as I guess the lab also has a few different potions, vials, but it's not something I'd feel comfortable selling. So that is to say, if you could establish any kind of a trade, I'd be most surprised and impressed. But you'd be looking to set up trade with their scrolls. As currently, Razlakar has a larger supply of magical scrolls and equipment than any other place on Altera.
Can I use your name?
Absolutely not. If you are going through the front door, maybe, even then. I have a very trustworthy name, Razu. I have a very trustworthy name, Kyle. I'd like to keep it that way, just as you would like to keep yours that way. Mm-hmm. So that's why I'm surprised you're planning to go in as yourself.
I mean, what if I actually go in with have intentions to set up trade for their scrolls?
Best be less straightforward than you usually are. With that, it was simply...
Question. Do you know who Golrosh is?
I think we discussed this last night.
Yes.
Oh.
I asked him this as I was curious if he was
Are
under
you
the
trying
same
to go in
class.
as Golrosh?
Champion. Yeah, he knows. He knows that.
I was not familiar with his name, no. I knew that the champion was an orc. If his name was Golrosh, then yes. But I'm going to be totally honest. I only learned last night. I think you were speaking with one of my merchants. I only learned last night that he had been...
Slain.
Yes, eliminated.
Okay. I was just trying to think of some ideas.
You want to be the
I
guy you
think we should
killed?
all have like a theme too.
Good.
With that, you guys will just be spending the morning effectively preparing, coming up with, or having your disguise kits and coming up with a little bit of an idea.
Shouldn't we have like
Do you
a
guys-
theme?
Do you guys want to discuss what your story is, or are we going in blind?
I think we're trying to figure it out. I'm just trying to think of what I'm going to be.
Shouldn't we have like a theme? Like a group theme?
I mean,
Like a why in the hell are all these people traveling together
I mean,
theme?
considering that Clay's not really disguising himself too much.
What are you talking about? I
we
look
we should
completely different.
we should probably
No one's gonna
base our story
recognize me.
around Clay.
Any good deeds I see
Please,
are going to
brother.
be attributed to whoever this is and not Clay Beekman.
Clay Beekman's brother. Do you have a brother?
Yeah.
My name is Beak Clayman.
I called it!
What if we just call you CB? Then you can be Clay Beekman, but we don't have to say.
That's too obvious. I'm going to be Beak Clayman. No one will know. How would they know? No one's going to know.
BC. Now he's BC.
If he is dressing up Tiku as Kelmia, or at least a Kelmia look-alike, we could continue along those same lines and dress up as members of the Dawnbringers. We have the strength to pull that off.
You know, it would be
Tell me and look alike.
very eye-drawing to see the Dawnbringers walking through town.
Hiding in plain sight.
Also, Dawnbringers have been like anti-slavery, like if the Dawnbringers are in town in this town, it's probably not a good thing.
Again, hiding in plain sight.
No, it's getting very much noticed in plain sight, and they just don't know exactly who you are. But they assume
We
you're
shouldn't be
someone
anyone
important.
famous.
Thornscale will chime in and say, so I'm modeling Tiku's garb off of Kelmia. However, just so you know, the Dawnbringer showing up here would be similar to Sovereigns showing up in how they would be recognized and treated. Whether or not that was hostile or not, I imagine it would likely be on the hostile side. But the Dawnbringers are, for all intents and purposes, for those outside of Kalismir, considered the leaders of trade, if nothing else. And so, it is to say, it would not go unnoticed.
That is not the point to go unnoticed.
Cause
The
it-
point is to get into the
Could we
school.
Could we just go
We're
in
already
as,
going to be in.
as Beak Clayman or sorry. What,
Yes.
What were you going to buy again?
Beak Clayman, you had it right the first time.
Okay.
Because I'm Clay Beekman.
We're being raided, guys.
Should we go in
Oh.
as like employees of his?
Hello. Sorry, we are trying to figure out disguises for breaking into a city.
I got my disguise. I'm a halfling, adorable, redheaded priestess.
And the current plan is to be Beekman Clay's subordinates.
Beak Clayman.
Beak Clayman, sorry.
Beak Clayman.
Not to be confused with Clay Beekman's subordinates. And you simply want to go in as members of his trade? Is that what the current plan is?
And I'll be a mini Ziltor.
Why do you have a priestess in your group?
Are you saying Ziltor or Serval?
For making holy water.
Okay.
Definitely
You'll go completely unnoticed.
Oh, yeah,
Nothing can go wrong.
How?
Thornscale is actually just sitting here kind of laughing. Just
Please tell me you're being
this
sarcastic.
is going well.
You know Serval is decently known to be dead.
I said an acolyte of his. I didn't say him.
You saying like somebody from the under
like
city.
I'm gonna look like one of his followers, one of his personally trained people, you know?
These people are insane.
Well,
As-
you joined us, so
As
Welcome
he's
to the party.
finishing
Can we
up,
just be like generic? Like, do we have to be inspired by people?
no, I was just
you just told him to take inspiration. He has themed you as a halfling.
Oh, I'm fine.
A halfling
But-
acolyte. For the rest of you, you need to decide how you want to look. As you guys are continuing to discuss it, Thornscale finishing up Tiku's disguise while you guys are trying to decide how you want to go about this.
okay. Plan B. We pretend to be merchants for the Thornscales.
Thornscale just said not to do that,
Why not?
as he does not want to be
Associated.
related to the city.
Okay. What merchant group does he hate?
I think that
Now
That's a
think
good
that's
idea.
a bad idea.
I think there's a group down in the south part of the continent.
I don't know. What do you have to say? what rival merchant guild do you have? We'll just pretend to be them.
Well, a traveling caravan. Pirates, really. Very untrustworthy. Never do business with them.
We're all part of freaking Slytherin's team.
Who?
What is happening?
No, but seriously. Okay. What's
Slytherin?
a rival merchant guild we can use?
The Silver Scales. They tried to piggyback off of my
Okay.
the foundation that I have
pretend
built.
to be one of the Silver Scales.
The Silver Scales.
Yes.
Do you know what their logo looks like?
Seems
Like
like
a
they're not the only ones
bear
there.
Do you have their clothes that we could wear?
I could
They're
make something.
silver.
Silver robes, mostly. They all typically wear scale mail for their armor. And
Oh, that's perfect. That's what I'm wearing.
their robes typically adorn that of a silver dragon. They affiliate themselves with Bahamut, but
Can you disguise us as those?
I mean, sure, I can change your robes.
I believe that's a good way to go. That way you don't get associated, and they most likely will find out that we're not part of that group. And if they do, I guess it just works out in your favor.
Have I heard of the Silver Scales before?
You have. It's only been in passing, though. They're a small group from Stilmakar, specifically.
Well, if we're impersonating the Silver Scales, I'm gonna need a disguise. I can't be seen working with them.
Okay, so to speed things up a little bit, you guys are going to get disguises. Decide what you are, just what you look like in terms of if you're being the same race or if you're switching to another race. But you'd spend the
obviously,
morning...
Gurgle needs to switch to something. What are you? You're the most important one. What are you gonna be?
What are you talking about? I could be a frog. Nobody's gonna notice a frog.
Never.
What are you
Okay.
gonna be, Gurgle?
I told you, I'm an acolyte of freaking my man, my black mage. I actually literally pull out one of his robes. He's got to have some robes in there.
He does. Serval absolutely would have some robes. That would the robes that you'd be pulling out would actually have the symbols of Roslakar on it. Specifically, so like the book that has all the runic writing on it. That is the most common one that is on the shoulders. It's got arcane runes that go down the sides.
I ask him which ones are students and which ones are masters.
With a little bit of effort. or sorry, not even a little bit of effort. As you go through the different garments that Serval has, he's only got one robe that you would recognize as the robe of a master. All the rest would be his student robes.
You are now my student. Have your robe. He just has like a vial in his ring of holding. Okay.
Okay, with that,
It's a bracer of holding.
with that, you guys spend the morning going through and having yourselves disguised for your plan to break into Rozlakar. Heading into the early afternoon, Thornscale being right, Bellamdor does arrive. Thornscale, after kind of finishing up the disguises, would come to all of you and says, "Well, I have surprising news, actually. Favorable for you, Zephyr. Bellamdor has arrived with some guests that he brought. Specifically, it seems they're looking for you.
Oh, great.
I think you might have a sixth sense, Kane.
Maybe some new followers for Riveron?
I don't know about that. Please, come. And at this point, he's going to bring you guys out of the tent, back into the village itself.
You're not speaking of Theron, are you?
Oh, God.
No, definitely not.
Please
Start pulling out
not.
weapons.
Ready for combat!
Said Sixth Sense. That's the only thing I could think of.
With that,
Hopefully they're not followers of Talos.
As he escorts you out of the tent, you're greeted by what appears more daunting than the last time you met him. Glemdor, now looking to be more of... He almost looks to be a young going on adult bronze dragon, standing much more proudly than he did in the halls of Ravenshold. And having two people on his back. He does not have any kind of like saddle or anything. And you watch as a shorter dwarf kind of like on the side says, "It's farther than I would like." And he jumps down, and as he lands, you see almost metal stilts at the side that as he hits kind of compresses, and he kind of like, they work quite well. This individual comes over. He has a spectacle over one eye that has an additional kind of magnifying glass on it. Seems to be wearing a
Took me
almost
so long, but I got it.
seems to be wearing a bronze helmet. He has gadgets aplenty about him. He has what appears to be multiple different sets of tools. He's got a small hammer on one side, what appears to be almost, you can see bits and pieces of a jeweler's craft kit that's almost in a satchel at the side that almost seems a little bit overflowing. And as he lands, one of the stencils that he has falls to the ground. He picks it up and puts it back in, comes over, longer, almost graying beard, and then his hands, the gloves that he has, in a similar to almost like the metal stilt-like, whatever this mechanism that is on his legs, his hands almost seem like they have metal ligaments that go and they wrap around each of his fingers, that as he's kind of stretching out a little bit, you can almost hear something that like the creasing of metal, as it very much so is like the retracting of almost gears as he still working out the kinks. All right, you are...
Hello, Metal Man.
Metal Man? You are the Cubix Ascenders... He looks back to the dragon, and the dragon kind of nods to him. He says, Kelmia, come down here. These are the ones you were talking about, right? Kelmia, much more nimbly, jumps down and just like lands next to him and then kind of like leans over on him. You hear again the metal almost stilts, almost like kind of compress as she purposely almost tries to like push him down. She goes, "This is no fun. You're more sturdy than you usually are."
Hi, Kilmia. I assume this is Theric?
Yes.
Oh, great
Theric
God,
Hammerstone.
Kelmia.
He's bad at
He's
introductions.
unprepared.
Theric, now kind of seemingly almost perturbed and frustrated, his hair a little bit frazzled as well from what was likely this flight on the back of this dragon, says, "Yes, sorry, manners. My name is Theric Hammerstone, and I'm being kept for my development, so I wish to make this quick.
Nice to meet you. I'm Zephyr Tempest.
He just kind of like nods as he starts to go through a satchel at his side. And first thing he pulls out appears to be, it's almost like a longer metal tube that has some kind of fuse going off there. It looks to be almost a miniaturized cannon in his hand. As he pulls it out, he says, nope, not that. And kind of just sets it down on the ground right next to him, leaning up against his leg. And goes through, pulls out another thing that just is, it appears to be almost a circle contraption that is spinning on itself, with what appears to almost be like the flames of a sun coming off it, and he spins and pulls that out and goes, oh, I've been looking for that. Puts it in a different pocket, and then he reaches into, again, what is a smaller bag at his side, and pulls out what is, within a few moments you realize, what appears to almost be a mechanical arm. Not quite to the degree of what you were expecting when you originally made your request, as the base for this is fairly thin, and it seems to be a combination of blue, black, and almost like a deep purple stones. The middle of it, with like almost like the veins that seem to spread out of it, appear to be made out of mithril. The black stone seems to be, it kind of has the sheen of an obsidian, but it looks a little bit more sturdy than what you would typically see with obsidian. And then the final purple is very clearly titanium that has been built into it and kind of seems to almost be morphing around the arm. And he kind of picks it up and goes, yes. And as he looks at it, another monocle kind of like looks over it. He says,
that looks expensive.
Well, good news. It's paid for. As he comes over to you and kind of like looking at you, looking to where your arm has been severed, and you've kind of got it covered with your shirt currently. He just reaches in. 1 second. And he reaches into his bag and pulls out a small knife and then just slices the clothing and rips open the clothing where your shoulder is.
I'm not attached to it.
As he takes what is this mineral metallic arm, he with the almost like the metal reinforcement on his right hand, that worth noting, the metal contraption for his fingers is only on one hand. He goes to the base of the arm, which is largely flattened, and he almost like,
I feel like
presses his fingers into it.
This isn't going to be painful, is it?
As he presses his fingers into it and almost starts to mold it and carve it with a few seconds with what is masterful precision into what very much so almost looks like dozens of almost miniaturized needles. And he says, I don't know. I've never done this before. As he just slams it into your shoulder. And it is very much so a excruciating feeling as this this metallic titanium arm, not only does he effectively just stab it into what is a wound that would actually still be healing at this point, as it's barely been a week since your arm was cut off, reopening the wound, blood like almost immediately spewing from the wound, and you feel the stone network, the titanium almost immediately reacting to your body, quickly goes and not only finds the nerves and starts to attach them to the arm to where
this would be really painful.
Oh yeah, this is insane. This is like to the point that I would say you almost immediately, he attaches it, lets go, and you would almost like immediately buckle to the ground, kind of holding it as you feel it not only goes through, finds the nerves that have almost, even some of them that have almost like started to retract from the way that your arm was sliced. It almost seems to dig through your body to find those nerves, attach them. You feel it almost graft onto your bone and grind into them, fusing with it, as what is an extremely painful, albeit quick, about 30 seconds of what very much so feels like this arm almost just invading into your flesh. Within those, after that 30 seconds,
just a quick 30 seconds of
Super quick.
absolute torture.
very much so for all of you, you would see Zephyr just collapsed onto the ground, effect almost within a few moments, going to like almost like a more of like a fetal position, holding this arm as Derek looking, and he goes, it might be more painful than I thought initially.
I just don't get any of that. I'm just like overloaded already.
Even after the 30 seconds, while that almost like grinding and tearing into your flesh of this mechanical arm being attached, it still has that like lingering pain, that freshness to where as you kind of like touch it, and even your arm feels which you can now almost instantly, you can actually feel, you can move. In fact, not only can you feel and move, is almost immediately as you're kind of like going through and touching the fingers, you can not only feel almost magic in it, apart from just the titanium, almost like reflexively, you start to almost think about casting magic through this arm. You watch as almost like a lightning rod. The lightning magic that you have almost up to a point at your fingertip, giving the impression that this likely has the ability to enhance or to serve as like a catalyst, specifically for lightning style magic, or the lightning typed magic, I should say.
He goes, told him what type.
He goes, I didn't know exactly what you'd be looking for, but Kelmia told me you seem to be a bit obsessed with lightning. And so, usually I've made things that are immune to this type of thing, so it may not be quite as effective as some of my other creations. But I believe this will work quite well.
I mean, it feels great. Do you want to go for a test run with it real fast?
Oh, absolutely. Please. Where?
Does it have a flamethrower in it?
He looks over to Thornscale and he's, no, it's a lightning. And he looks to Thornscale and he says, you are Thornscale, and he says, yes, you're the scaly one. We've been doing business recently. Thornscale kind of nods and he says, sorry I haven't been involved in that, but I hope my sister's been kind to you. With that, please, come. Where can we blow things up? Thornscale like looks towards the village and kind of gestures for you guys to go back behind his tent into the fields closer to the hills of Plaza behind the village.
I do like blowing things up.
Okay, as he kind of not even leading you, but almost like pushing you to go and see what this and have you test this. As you get a decent amount away from the tent, you get like 10 paces away, and he's like, all right. And Thornscale actually calls out and he says, if you could please go a little bit further. And Derek's, oh, all right, and kind of goes a little bit further out, almost like to spite that. He waits until you guys are like 100 feet away at this point and looks back. That should be far enough. All right, use your most powerful lightning and make sure to cast through your newfound arm.
After it does that.
Okay.
We can wait for the demonstration.
So I'll just cast 7th level fireball, doing lightning damage, and we're just gonna max everything.
I'm trying to use.
And for the heck of it, we'll just try to tap a little bit into the Talos side.
Oh.
Okay, so for that, you need to make a religion check. Is you're actually tapping into the power of
We're just gonna
Talos.
see how much this arm can handle.
Okay.
The arm just explodes.
My arm.
And Derek's just like, new testing.
This might not have much juice. 14.
14.
Bardic
Okay.
inspiration.
I do have normal inspiration.
True?
Yeah, let's use it.
Bardic inspiration will probably be expired by now.
15.
I think that's the actual check for it. If
But
it's
you said
same
I had
with
bardic
mine.
inspiration?
That only lasts an hour. It's probably been longer than an hour.
Has it been more than
Yes,
that?
it'd be longer than that. You guys spent the
That's
morning,
good.
so
Okay.
15
It's gone.
total. Okay, so as you
would've
cast
used that as
the fireball or lightning ball in your case, the spell,
I guess I could have used guidance on myself.
Could have.
Could I?
could have, would have, should have,
Okay.
but didn't.
In the future.
As you actually cast the spell, you go through the somatic motions to actually cast the spell, and you cast it, and it doesn't seem to have an effect right away. And there, what? That is a little bit, and then in like when you cast fireball as a lightning, it is almost like streaks of lightning spread out in a just a massively wide pattern for the standard range of like a 30-foot fireball. As you cast this, while slightly delayed, almost to the point that Theric seemed to almost get like a little bit disappointed as it took like three or so seconds to actually go off. In a massive kind of the bolts seem many more, and the range is increased to a 50-foot radius.
God damn.
So this upcasts it by 1, so it upcasts it by a level, and it doubles. Sorry, that'd be a 60-foot radius. It doubles the size of the fireball or the spell.
Pretty sure
it can work on
20-foot radius.
So 40 feet.
It is. Apologies. So it'd be a 20-foot radius. This would double it to a 40-foot radius, as well as it upcasts it by 1 level. As the spell actually activates, though, you do almost feel a drain. The arm gets a little bit heavy, almost seems a little bit slower to respond. The spell actually activating, Theric is just, yes. Mostly a success. And as he looks to you, as you almost feel that drainage, he says, "Oh, I forgot to tell you. For a time, you'll be. It will exhaust you if you decide to actually enact this. Not for long, only for about a minute, but it'll take you a second to recover, as you would be under the effect of level 1 exhaustion." And he says, "And now, as far as how to recharge it has 3 charges. They can stack, so be careful about using it too rapidly within a short time. And the only way to recharge it as of right now is." Is to be struck by lightning, typically in a storm. You'll use it similar to how you would consider a lightning rod. Don't worry, completely safe, entirely safe. You'll be fine.
Trinity's like, no.
That does not sound very reassuring.
Sounds right. I'll be fine. Okay,
does
so to
not
go
sound
over
reassuring
go over
at
the
all.
mechanics of it real quick, just so I can get them all down. So upcast by 1 level, has 3 charges.
Doubles the range,
Doubles the range.
but a use
Range and
causes
radius.
Radius is range. Right?
Yeah, that'd be range.
Doubles the
Effect.
radius, not the range.
Yeah.
Right, like
Yes, apologies.
Yeah.
The actual
Radius
size of
will
the
be
spell.
doubled.
The size, not the range. Yeah.
radius. Okay.
And then it gives you 1d. So it gives you exhaustion for 1d6 turns. It can be up for a minute. Up to a minute. So you just roll a d6.
A
You'd have
D6
exhaustion for
would
that many
be half a
turns.
minute.
Sorry, he's right. It's d10. 6 seconds. So you'd roll a d10, and that's how many turns you'd be suffering from a level exhaustion from. You can stack it, the levels, but the only thing is if you do cast it using it more than once in the same time period, the new timer gets added to the current one, and you have level 2. So let's say you rolled a 4, used it on turn 2, so there's 2 left, and then you rolled a 6. It's now 8 turns at level 2 exhaustion. So that is how that mechanically actually works. But with that, you would also get the -1 to your dexterity score would go away. You would regain your use of dexterity. With that, as he
He's got an arm again.
as he seems happy with this, he says, "Now, I'm most curious. We haven't been, thankfully, I've been left to my own devices for some time, but I have found myself more recently in a little bit of a lull for some ideas. I'm messing around with a few different knickknacks, but I'm curious, currently in the fray of things. Do you have any ideas on anything else that you would like created? This was a fascinating project, not too unlike Broshock, but different in functionality."
I do if you're up for it.
Pretty sure you're not
Looks over
there.
to you and he says,
Okay.
looks to Kelvia and sees again. He says, "Never mind. What is your idea, Kane?"
So, originally, before Zephyr got this arm, Gurgle and I were going to create him one made purely of electricity. As a master craftsman, I'm certain. Have you heard of rune weaving?
Yes.
Gurgle and I are dabbling in it, to say, and I would love for another master to show me how it's done. And I'm going to pull out the necklace that is completely charged with lightning, overcharged, one might say.
Okay.
I was wondering if we could combine this with his arm.
He reaches out and he takes it and starts to inspect it for a moment. And taps it.
Tiku
Pulls
backs
out.
off.
Pulls out again. Uses the monocle that he has and starts to inspect it for a moment. And goes, This is dangerous to combine with his arm. I'm more than happy to give it a try."
Of course that could happen.
Oh, the worst that could happen is it wouldn't mix well, and it would detonate, and you would almost certainly die. But if it works, then I could likely increase the potency of the magic in the arm. Maybe
Because
allow
there's-
it for even additional cast, or perhaps a higher cast of the spell you use. And at this point, you can see that he's actually like moving towards you with the necklace in his hand.
Kiku's gonna start on lunge during this whole thing.
Zephyr's still sweating from the level 1 exhaustion. He's like, fuck it. Sure, why not? What's the worst could happen? Just lose an arm? Lose the other arm?
I think he said
That's
you,
the right attitude.
I think he said you blow up. Actually, is what he said. The worst that could happen.
No, I think he said, you most certainly will die. I'm pretty sure that's the words that's gonna happen.
Before he
So-
starts working, I drink a potion of lightning resistance.
I think that's the same thing, Kiku.
If possible, I would love to assist him, or at least attempt to learn from him.
Okay, so
These one, like, we've always just done the roll, right? For the hours? 1d4?
Yeah, 1d4 hours.
yes. As you come to start to work with him in a system, I'm actually gonna have you roll for it.
I'm gonna cast Enhance Ability on myself to give myself advantage.
Okay.
And if possible, would you mind guidancing me, Zephyr?
Sure. Yeah, get the d4.
I assume this is a rune weaving check.
It is
That is a 31.
31.
I'm
As
not
you
proficient in rune weaving. I'm trying to be, but I'm not.
as you start to work with him, first thing you notice, the arm, despite the fact you didn't see it initially, as he actually starts to work on it using the different, what appears to be a single craft set of tools that almost seems to change to the use that he's needing as he's going. Whether or not at some points he changes it to, rather than being a hammer, it almost seems to change to a quill, so that he can start to draw in runes.
Just real quick, I would point out Adar's hammer that Gurgle owns to see if it could help him.
Ooh.
Do you produce said hammer?
Okay.
So as you guys
You're
start to
playing
work
a
on it,
dangerous game,
and
handing a master craftsman a legendary forging hammer.
It's a temporary lend.
as,
It is.
I would.
as you pointed out to him, wait 1 second. As he's starting to work on it, and you notice his tool, you offer that you have a hammer of a rune weaver available, and he a little bit. At first, he says, "There's no way that it'd be better than what I have." As he continues to work, before Gurgle actually produces it for him, and he kind of like looks over at it, and he's like, "No." And in a similar fashion, especially you, Gurgle, actually both of you having high perception, you notice that the monocle that he's wearing isn't just something that seems to be enhancing vision. As you look closer at it, there is small runes that are weaved in the glass itself, and they almost seem to be moving. And as he looked at it, they almost seemed to react. And so that's what kind of like took the double take. And he looked at it, he, not asking this time, just reaches out and takes the hammer and just looking. Where did you get this?
It was a gift.
Is it a gift that you're willing to gift?
No.
What about sell?
No. Again, we are trying to dabble in
Wait.
rune weaving as well.
He starts to rummage.
He's like, what do I have?
He starts to rummage through his bag, and he pulls out just like
Rorschach?
he pulls out a handful of rings. Kind of like looks at the rings and looks at the hammer and goes, no, and then just drops them back in his bag. Clearly to you, as you look at the carvings on the rings, like master crafted rings, many of them with magical capacities to them, and it's literally just like a handful of them. Just throws them back in the bag. Pulls out, no, that's not what I was looking for either. Then he pulls out what appears to be a white stone, the base of it being almost like a blackish purple that is kind of almost like grown up around it. It almost looks like an egg, roughly about this big. As he picks it up and starts to look at it, the inside or the top portion of that white rock almost seems like it's got a light mist to it. Hard to tell if it's just like the sheen of this stone or if it actually almost seems like it has something inside of it moving. as he looks at it and he says, "Are you sure?"
I am sure.
Is this his hammer or is this your hammer?
It is ours.
Which means that you have a say. Yeah, hold this before you decide. And he holds out.
Hold your temptation.
How much cast identify on this?
As Kyo comes over and he casts identify on it. Not something you'd ever think you'd see as you identify a Gitanium heart. Given time, this is a source of Gitanium. Gitanium being a living stone
It
grows. It is not something that is mined. This is a smaller one, so it would produce at a much slower rate. But
I would then identify the hammer. You would just see KO's jaw drop.
He's like, you just gave me the keys to infinite money.
as you try to identify the hammer,
Are you
you're like-
sure?
You identify.
You
the
want that
Git-
hammer?
You identify the Gitanium heart. Then you're like, wait, what is that? And then as you go to hand it, he like pulls it out of your range. He says, just make a decision.
Just gave you the keys to infinite money.
I don't know how hard that is to craft, but
Well, you can't craft these. You have to find them.
The answer is no, Gurgle.
the thing is that hammer made You want to show him the thing?
I do not. As he'll try and buy that.
But you fail to understand. You can have the most beautiful of tools, and in the hands of a novice, it is worthless. This, in the hands of a
I'm
novice,
actually pretty good.
is the price of a kingdom.
But I'm actually
This, in your hands,
What you
is
do
not but a fancy
understand,
hammer.
More like the price of
is
a
that
con-
we
But I'm-
want to
but-
become masters.
But also, I'm pretty good.
All right, new proposition then. As he places the Titanium heart back in his bag, he says,
Also, you said I'm a novice.
I will take
but
you
I'm-
on as pupils.
But I'm pretty good, actually.
Your tuition fee, this.
I'm actually pretty good, though. I actually fixed the guy that owns that hammer's rune.
I'm going.
How about this, Thrak? You can choose to use the hammer. In return, you give them 2 lessons, and while you're here giving them lessons, you can use the hammer.
a temporary bargain. And that's not saying we cannot make deals again in the future.
But
Also,
for now,
I'm still
we feel
offended that
like
it said
we
I'm
need
a
to hold on to
rookie.
the hammer.
I fixed the guy that had that hammer's rune.
But you don't even know how to use it. He
I kinda
seems
do.
kind of confused.
teach them
Tell me
how
how
to
to
use
use
it.
it.
As he holds it out, I would instantly
You
cast
instantly see
identify.
just like disappointment and almost like disgust on Theric's face as you say you just did.
The instant he held it up, I can identify.
Identify cast a minute. Takes
It's a minute?
to cast.
10
It
minutes
takes a
ritual
minute.
cast, 1 minute.
11 minutes ritual cast.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
11 minutes ritual
He always,
cast, 1 minute cast.
he always
time.
sings in. He always sang in Primordial when he was actually doing his
Yes.
rune cast.
I don't even think he ever used the hammer.
Yeah, he did.
Hey, did.
Who does? 100%.
When he was enhancing all our items.
Yeah, and I'm pretty
guess,
sure he always
yeah.
sang in Primordial because I understood it.
And Raza was like, shh.
Yeah, he was trying to make yeah, I remember. He was trying to make the sounds. He was trying to make the sound effects. That's right.
Louder noises.
So, I don't know how I don't know how many I learned from my grandpa's book, but I can try and do a little thing.
Is Thornscale still present?
He is, but he's back at his 10. He gave you guys a wide berth when you guys were.
Think
when you
his
guys
back
were
was-
What's the
Cooking.
range on the message?
120 feet.
Is he 120 feet?
He's 100 feet, so yes.
Let me.
I would just point at him. Get over here.
Thornscale slightly.
You need to see this hammer.
We got to make a deal.
Thornscale slightly confused is going to approach.
Let me see the hammer. You got something you want me to try and put something in, like some magic in?
No.
think the best deal is if you want to use the hammer, you give them lessons in return for.
I mean,
use
he
of the
wanted me
hammer.
to show him.
If you want to,
He's
use
just
the hammer,
He's just trying to call you a novice. He doesn't actually care.
I take offense at that, so I want to show him.
He doesn't actually care.
All as bad as my friends. Talk of each other a lot.
Oh, one of your friends used to be with us for a little bit.
no, I
Rickshaw.
know. She told me.
Yeah.
What? I'm smiling. He is not.
Yeah.
He just straight faces out. He's like, what did you say?
Rickshaw? Kelmea, you don't tell him about Rickshaw.
he said he was a member of your
He
party.
turns around and she goes,
A founding member.
"No, sorry, I forgot to mention that he's here. There, just
He's not actually.
No, he died.
He is dead.
Well,
amazing."
Not the malice
news
part,
I've heard
just
in the last
the rickshaw part.
50 years.
It is a sprig of malice.
There's more than one.
It's complicated. Oh, by the way, did you ever find Broshak?
I mean, no, but I haven't made an overly huge effort.
Oh, I know what
Have you told him Kelmea?
Told me what? Kelmea just, like, effectively when Therick's looking at you, he's like, have you, Kelmea's like, but as he turns, she just goes, "Sorry, Malice is here, and there seems almost as he split him. Dorsing and Alistair are here too." He goes, "That is terrible news."
I know what I can do. I've been meaning to try this for a while. And
I'll let Kelmea explain it to you.
I take off the shield and I was like, give me the hammer.
And he kind of like looks at it. He like holds it out to you.
I'm going to
But
grab
then,
it,
like,
and
doesn't
I'm
let
going to
go.
pull it out of his hands.
As
I
you
assume he is
grab
not
it,
letting go.
Make a strength check.
Yeah.
Oh, against.
I
Woo!
still have enhance. Actually, enhance ability is targeted, so I would not have advantage. Yeah, fuck it. 13.
You hold. He's like, and you're not finding ground with pulling this out of his hands. Is he? Let's go.
Give me the hammer.
To Gurgle.
I'm a religion check. Give me a second. I gotta warm up. I gotta start the engine.
The sun is warming up.
I'm gonna activate the primordial. But not the first time. Give me a second.
He's going Super Saiyan.
Charlie
Not
rolled
the
low
second
first
time either.
Just roll as many times you want.
He's having performance
Performance
issues.
anxiety.
Give me a second.
Effectively, Gurgle would be sitting down and meditating.
third time.
Well, just
Fourth time. Fourth time.
wait. And effectively, as he's sitting
Takes
on the
me
ground,
half a minute. I'm like,
meditating.
like,
As he's meditating, and you've actually taken the hammer away. Now that you've taken it away, and he seems a little bit less focused, he kind of still need more. As you realize, Therick's actually really not strong. He's rolled really high.
it takes me exactly 4 tries to get it to start.
Okay, so after just under 30 seconds, Gurgle would that kind of pulse, that warm almost aura, just out from Gurgle.
And I start. I don't know if I have any control over it, but I start imagining that it's the clang when we were coming into the volcano. It's like the clang of when he hits the anvil. Whenever
Okay.
the pulse happens. I don't know if I can control that, but
Do
that's
you
why
need
I try.
Do you need some water noises?
No, I don't need watch noises. Thank you. And also, you're not Rouser.
You require assistance, Gurgle.
I just need the one for fire. I just pull open the my grandpa's book and try to look for anything related to or around fire.
I actually would pull up my
Do
necklace.
you know the ones for fire?
Yes, I do.
All right, I need a couple of them. I'm gonna put them all on here, and I just like start writing them on, or start engraving them on the shield.
I'm gonna cast a combination of produce and control flame to basically create fire runes. Runes made of fire.
And I'm just gonna clang them in there, and then I'm just gonna start humming whatever I learned, and then I'm gonna start hitting fire runes in the shield.
So, what Roko's notes would have told you about rune weaving is effectively it is storytelling in magical form. That is to say, it's not just a spell you recite. If you wanted to rune weave fire magic, you would be telling a story of fire, depending on how powerful or impactful or truthful your story is.
I would start reciting the lived memories that I had through the primordial then.
And I'm actually going to join him singing in Draconic specifically. And I would be casting the spell Wall of Fire to try and imbue it.
So through the primordial's memories, when he showed me some of his memories, I would be like reciting it from as if I was the primordial living through it, and then I'd also be trying to imbue the fire of the primordial into the shield.
I gotta say this.
Okay.
You guys are singing through the fire and flames.
True.
I hate you. I guess I should say you're stupid.
More like a song of ice and fire. No. No! Like, rune weaving is one of my most original concepts. You can fuck off.
Iron, oil, temperance oil. The forge ain't hard if your blood don't boil.
That was pretty good. I was gonna have both of you. So you guys are both gonna roll. I'm gonna give you advantage for that.
Do you speak primordial?
Question.
He's singing a draconic.
I already have enhanced ability. Can I have triple advantage?
No, but I'll let you roll a d8 with it. Woo! Effectively, I'll give you a form of inspiration for it.
Fucking hell. 16.
He sucks at this.
I got
You
a
also need to
31
make a roll,
last time,
Gurgle.
okay?
Hold on. That's athletics?
No, this is a blacksmithing too.
Yeah. Isn't athletics the blacksmithing?
No, blacksmithing is its
Its
own.
own separate thing.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
it
it's
is
strength based.
It is a strength-based check, and you are proficient in it. So I believe it'd be the same as your athletics.
How come he gets to be
But
proficient?
smithing tools is something I'm proficient in.
I know. So
Yeah.
the answer is it's going to be the same score as your
I thought-
athletics, but
I
it's
thought
technically
all
not.
of the crafting was tied to a specific stat now. I was pretty sure that's
Is
what.
it?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's how the 2024 crafting
Yeah,
works.
because how we're doing it is if you're proficient in smithing tools and athletics, you get to add your proficiency twice.
I'm pretty sure that's how it works.
Well, I don't think it's specifically athletics. It's if your first character that you
I
run
might
has
not have
proficiency in strength.
I think it is athletics actually. I'm pretty sure they tied.
I'm
all
pretty
of
sure
the
it's proficiency in
crafting
strength.
to a
It
specific
might-
stat.
I used
it in the Gold Roche fight. And
The
it's still
answer-
failed.
The answer is that Gurgle is correct.
Pretty sure they tied it to.
It is
athletics.
straight, and it is just athletics. That is 100% true.
That's what I thought.
Okay, so yeah, no, apologies. It is athletics, and as you are proficient with the tools in the way that we're doing it, then yes. So you would have double proficiency with it.
Out of curiosity, you said that I specifically wasn't proficient when doing rune weaving. So how come he's proficient?
Because he's doing the blacksmithing. Actually, no, you're right.
Because that's why I only have a 16. Because otherwise, I'd have like a 26.
So the answer to your question is because of the hammer that he's using.
Do we want to use? I mean, do you want to do a mix? I can do like a mix of.
No. So it's going to be the rules that we're using. So it's athletics, and you get double proficiency
Okay.
because you're proficient with the tools. And
And our proficiency
normally, if you're
is
using normal
6 right
tools,
now,
that
or
wouldn't
5?
work for rune weaving.
5,
But
6.
we
based
are
on the
currently
hammer,
have a
yes.
5 proficiency.
I can see that.
So it is 38.
Jabus!
I would have gotten a 41 if I was proficient in rune weaving. I'm sorry.
All right.
I rolled.
So
a
you're
really
telling the
high,
story of
I rolled
fire.
a really high roll, if that helps.
Or actually,
Which
still
which of the primordial fire stories are you trying to retell?
So
got a 19.
I'd probably be retelling the story of when he was free, when his power was more free. So like when he was helping shape the world. So more like early creation, less of his more recent
an imbuement,
being
not a
being
creation.
in prison. So it'd be like him going out into the world and affecting the world and creating creation almost.
Volcanoes?
Yeah, it'd be like creation. It'd be like a story about creation.
Okay, you said 34?
38.
38, and you said...
I got a 19 because I technically would still have his guidance. As
If
he was guidancing me the entire time, as that's how guidance would work with a check.
Yeah, if he's concentrating on it, which I assume he would be. Okay, so yeah. You actually slightly mesmerize Theric. While it's not in a sense of like he's dumbfounded by what you're doing, it is very much so what was initially a firm doubt that he very clearly had almost goes into a confusion to respect. It's like a quick scale that you see him go through as you guys work on this. Rune weaving again. This is not a short thing. This is a 10-minute long endeavor. Almost all rune weaving that you've seen so far has been a minute cast time or a 10-minute cast time. Those are the only two that you've seen as of yet.
Well, we also
be-
saw the longer. We
saw the
also
multi-hour
understood that there was a longer one. We didn't see anybody do
Technically,
it.
I have, as I saw Rudars create the cube.
Yes. So the iterations that you've seen, the cube was a week-long cast.
I thought it was a month long.
It was a month long. I
Yeah.
apologize. His weapon, his sword that he wields, that was a week-long cast. You've also heard of a day-long cast, and then a hour-long cast, 10-minute cast, 1-minute cast. Effectively, the longer the spell and the longer the song or the story, the more powerful the magic. This case, you guys would be doing a 10-minute rune weaving.
My grandpa's story, yeah, because I wouldn't remember too much.
Yeah.
From the vision, I would just like briefly remember it. But from my grandpa's book, we could tell that it was rune weaving, but we had no idea how to cast the spell or how long it would have been.
Yes,
'Cause
that is
we
correct.
could tell that the whole book was structured in a way where you could cast it, the whole book.
Yes,
basically.
the entirety of Roko's book, his notes, is not only notes on rune weaving, it is his own story. It is a full castable spell. You don't know what its effect would be, nor do you currently have the proficiency to cast it.
Yeah.
But you would know that is possible. With that being the case, over those 10 minutes, you guys do have what ends up being a almost deep, beautiful harmony between primordial and draconic, singing of different aspects of fire.
My singing voice isn't great though. I had
all
to
right.
roll a performance check.
You're focused on the forge itself, and you very much so are able to imbue, and you're actually more successful than you guys initially intended on being. You're able to imbue multiple effects without destroying the item as well, which is a very, very real possibility. As a note, you are able to imbue it with 3 casts of the Create Flame, with 1 cast of Fireball at 5th level, and then 3 casts of Control Flame.
I assume it did consume my spell slot.
Yes, okay. It consumed your spell slot. And as you finish it, effectively you've turned this shield into not only at keeping its previous effects, not destroying it, but effectively turning it into a spell holding shield, specifically holding those fire spells. They refresh at dawn. As you
2 of those cantrips? Create Flame's a cantrip.
Yes.
Still charges,
but it's charges.
But people who
it's
don't
similar,
use it too, or like can't use it, right? Could use it.
Yeah, so it is still charges. That is typically how you see any of the different items that can hold spells. With that, your aura did actually seem to... You were able to mimic the sounds. The fall of the hammer seemed to almost like echo inside that bubble. As the 10 minutes comes to an end, your aura also fades, and Theric, now having a little bit more of a respectful demeanor, is, all right. I will teach you. I do still want to be able to use the hammer, but I would not take it from those with potential. In fact, I'd like to invite you to Learboast. I have many facilities there. It'd be much better suited than anything in this place forgotten in the past.
have to help Tiku rescue her friends first. But
Can we take a rain check on that?
but my grandpa left me this book, and I would like to learn its secrets at some point. It's very hard to understand.
Might I study it for a time, and perhaps I could teach it to you later then?
I've already read as much as I could. I think I've read it 3 times, and I ain't getting nowhere with it, so...
You give Roko's notes over to Theric, and he starts to read through it. You almost seeing his eyes almost dart through it. Worth noting, as he reads it, he just like flips through it. And he's like, interesting. This is not a way I thought of approaching runes, but most brilliant. And he starts to rummage through his bag again, and then he pulls out another ring. And he says, pulls out another ring. Then he hands each of you a ring. He says, Ring of Spell Storing. It holds but one spell. It will bring you to Learboast. Should you wish to embark on this training, I would be more than happy to both teach and learn with you, as it seems that, surprising enough to me, you know some things I do not, which is
We had a good
entirely uncommon now. The world needs more people like you. Now, I have one more question for you, Zava. Before we fix your arm, if you encounter these other rickshaws and malices and snakes, what is your plan?
I vote to kill him.
Yeah, we're not really friends with them by any means, and they seem to be in our way for the most part, so they'll probably come to blows.
Rickshaw was...
Fantastic.
Rickshaw.
Again, rummages through his bag and then pulls out a small white stone. This is a familiar stone to you guys. This is a stone of sending. As he pulls it out, he says, "Who would like to hold this? If you run into him and you deal with some problems, this is a problem that I thought I dealt with, and then I put off for some time. I'd be more than happy to assist."
Zeph is the de facto group leader.
I'll hold on to
Hand
it.
you a stone of sending.
Rickshaw?
That comes directly to me, and if you use it not pertaining to him or something not important, I will turn it off.
Don't worry, I don't typically like to talk to people too much.
Rickshaw
Unless
was...
it's about Riveron, and then I'll talk your ear off all day.
I don't know if it
Speaking
matters.
of which, do you know about them? No, I won't bother you with that right now. Were you gonna try to do the lightning
we
thing
still
to the
need to
arm?
Yes.
Chant his
Give me
arm.
the hammer back. Takes the hammer, he walks over to you, and he says, "All right, well,
I would start
surely."
I would start playing the flute, and I would bardic
And
inspiration.
as soon as he hits it, those around you to make a dexterity saving throw.
I did get a 31. Can I assist him at all?
Everybody?
No, because he was doing this on purpose to test it.
Oh yeah.
Those within range.
How
just
much
fell.
range are we
Yes.
talking?
You would just fail.
Tiku is
19.
not.
You'd be in range for sure. I would say that it would be the 4 of you would be in range of this.
Did the bardic inspiration go off?
What's the deck save?
The dex save for this would be what's
Don't
your
say 20.
fireballs?
Don't say 20. Don't say 20.
My DC is 20.
Fuck!
There you go.
I hide behind him, and he takes the fire blast.
Okay, go ahead and roll damage for just a level 3 fireball.
Level 3 fireball. Okay.
Yes, and you are
That's
going
not
to
too
roll.
bad.
It's not going to be maximized.
That's not too bad. Oh, sorry. Let me grab.
Man, I'm so glad I've never gotten rid of absorb elements just because of Zephyr.
Where's fireball? Okay. I'm just gonna hit the button. 26.
26.
And I assume it's lightning damage?
It is lightning damage. As he hits it and it spreads out, one of them actually just hits Theric, and you watch as what would appear to be effectively almost like craftsman's clothes rapidly seem to move to where the lightning bolt was and strikes the armor. Still finding a bit of purchase and giving him a bit of a shock, but it appears that his armor seems to be made of some kind of living material as it moves to absorb a large portion of the lightning. As he kind of, whoa, I'm awake.
I wave my hand, catching some of the lightning into it, and basically holding it in my palm.
Okay. As he kind of like looks around at everyone, he says, "Wonderful, you'll all do fine." Now,
I hold action to
he's gonna,
teleport.
and immediately goes through and hits it again. This time, as he hits it, it almost like a tuning fork. As he hits, your arm almost feels like it starts to vibrate for a moment, and he starts to listen. He says, yes, this should be doable. All right, for this, everybody, please stand back a little bit. As he kind of gestures to everyone. Right as Thornsko gets close, he just walks back again.
I assume I'm still staying next to him to help him.
As you're standing next to him, he says, "This part's the most dangerous one, so."
I am aware.
All right.
I give him Bardic Inspiration, and then I leave.
Okay.
You'll roll 1.
And I hold action. If
You'll
any
roll
attack starts
1
coming
and
towards me,
Kane's
teleport
Do
further
you-
away.
I'm going to have you roll for this.
How much damage was the bolt?
What am I rolling
26.
here?
You are rolling. I mean,
Pretty sure.
technically, this is a smithing check based on the way that it works. Let me make sure. real
Athletics.
quick. Oh, yeah, athletics check. And your plus on this would be.
If he's got
Okay.
7 and he's expertise on all
Do-
tools, because that's what I heard Therica is, he gets a plus 14 plus whatever his athletics is.
Indeed.
Plus 12.
Would be plus 12.
Also, Bardically inspired.
No, because he's proficient with it.
Okay.
No, so he's expertise with all tools.
Because-
and if he's proficient in athletics, he'd get a plus 18 on top of
Because this
whatever
is
he
also
rolls.
my life on the line here, I'm casting a spell on Theric.
Okay, what are you casting?
Enhance ability.
Giving him advantage.
He gets advantage. I could give him advantage on any of the stats for
Okay.
ability checks.
So it is athletics. He has a plus 16 to the roll.
Okay, and advantage because of my enhanced ability.
Wouldn't that be plus
And Flash of
16?
Genius.
Wouldn't that be plus 16 on top of the plus 18? So it'd be a plus 34?
No, the plus 16 is what his plus is.
But then he's also expertise in tools.
No, that's including all that. He has no athletics.
Oh,
0.
fair enough.
I jumped.
I guess he is more of a tinkerer than a blacksmith.
It's an okay roll. That's a better roll. All right.
His exoskeleton doesn't give him
So
plus
you
the
said a
strength?
plus 16?
30?
Plus 16
Also has
plus
a
Flash
D8.
of Genius, which I believe is another 10. I'm trying to find it.
Flash
real
of
quick.
Genius is plus 5. It's equal to his intelligence modifier. Unless it got increased later
I
level.
think it's just plus 5.
Yeah, so plus 21
It
to
is plus
whatever
5.
you roll.
It is plus 5.
I also got a D8.
And Theric can guidance himself,
a
I
D8?
assume?
Not while he's
Bardic
doing this.
Inspiration.
Okay.
His focus is too much on something else.
38.
The second time, he has much more skill, or much more caution, we'll say, when he's actually crafting on it. And as he hits it again, you have again almost like that reverberation. He says, "Fantastic. All right." And then he places the amulet on your arm, and he kind of like takes it, and he gets to the point where he's like ready to hit, and he goes, and just shatters it against your as he shatters it against your arm, you like looking over at it as it hits, you kind of like look away as it and immediately starts to spread. But for those of you that don't avert your eyes as Zephyr looks away, it kind of and it almost seems to wrap around his arm and seems to back into it, and his arm seems to absorb the
That's
lightning.
dope as hell.
As what is effectively a massive, which in this case would have been equivalent to a 12th level fireball.
Whatever the fuck that is.
I was talking just in terms of
Yeah,
dice.
yeah,
That's how much
yeah,
damage
okay.
was stored in it. As the lightning just wraps your arm and almost turns it into almost a lightning veil around your arm for a
lightning aura.
It's like a lightning aura that's around your arm. This is an additional feature that could be recharged in lightning, and this is interesting for how I was going to do it because I decided this a while ago. So there's two ways you can do this. You can either coat your arm in lightning, giving you the ability to make unarmed strikes, dealing 3d12 lightning damage.
I went to make the prosthetic arm, and then I forgot to, like, save it, apparently. So I lost all that.
We will have to go through and do it. So this is a lightning arm that effectively you can envelop your arm and then use it to make an unarmed strike that would do 3d12 lightning damage. It is one strike,
Okay.
or you can expel that in a lightning bolt. The lightning bolt would be cast at the same level as same effect as fire. It allows you to cast lightning bolt at a higher level. And then lastly, it allows you to overcharge lightning. Effectively, you can store lightning in this. There's a danger to doing it, because if you overcharge it too much, it will release the excess lightning, but it can store up to 30 points of additional lightning damage that you can expend.
On any spell.
On any lightning
lightning-based
spell.
attack.
Okay. Anything that does lightning damage.
Yes, the only thing is, if you are going to do it, effectively you would cast the spell into it. If you overcap the lightning, anything in excess, you would take as damage.
Or hang on, wait.
So if you did 42 damage, you would take 12 damage.
And then 30 of it would get stored into your arm.
Hang on, wait. Maybe I'm misunderstanding how this works. Okay, so how does the storing work exactly then?
You cast lightning at your arm.
Okay.
Lightning grasp, lightning bolt, any lightning damage, you
so
cast it at your
I
arm.
could like pre-store that
Yes.
and then release it at a later time.
Yes.
Okay, so
And you can store up to 30 damage currently, but anything that you store into it in excess,
can it be used? Can you do that over multiple spells?
Yeah.
very much so. So you could do a spell that did 12 damage, and you could do another spell that did
So
11
I
damage.
should like shoot cantrips at it to charge
Shocking
it,
grasp, just
and then
Prep it before a fight.
and then
yeah,
you'd
prep
end up
before
with a
fight.
few points of damage over
Okay,
cap at the
now,
end, yes.
How long does the charge stay?
The charge would stay for... I didn't think about that part, to be honest.
a long rest.
We're going to say 1d4 hours. We're going to keep it in tune with the potions. So it'd be very much so something you have to premeditate.
You want to just do 1 hour just because that's kind of like the classic like
Yeah,
spell.
we'll say that it will to make it easy. We'll say
Yeah,
1
yeah.
hour. Maybe we'll tailor it a little bit more
okay
later.
with that.
But
Because then like if I know like a fight might be coming, I might do it ahead of time, take a little damage, and then just have it for.
Yeah.
Now, one more thing just to make sure I
They
can
do the
purposely
rest.
break this. When I do like a fireball situation where it hits multiple targets, it hits all of them for that 30 damage more, right?
Yes.
Okay. That's scary.
Yeah, that's terrifying.
Okay. Just make sure that's intended and not me exploiting a mechanic.
Little did we know, we just
Nope.
made Zephyr the most
Okay.
broken party member.
especially
In AoE,
because-
but I was already
especially because
broken.
Razu's gone now.
Yeah.
I was the most broken party member in AoE already, so. All right, cool. So I want to make sure.
Okay.
Oh, this is terrifying.
Wait a minute. If you make yourself immune to your fireballs, but you don't make your arm immune.
Nope.
Aw.
It's the same person.
Okay. With
You are
that,
your equipment in D&D.
Theric, kind of like looking about at the rest of you, he says, well, honestly, if you're going to be dealing with Rickshaw and now, well, I guess I should say Malice, and the rest of them, I think you're unequipped for the situation. Let me do some work. I'm going to see if I can't bolster your arsenal for events to come. And kind of like turns to Thornskull and ushers him over and says, Thornskull, you have a craftsman station here, yes? Thornskull kind of just like nods and points back towards the tent. And says, of course I do. You're more than welcome to use it. What are you looking to make? Don't exactly know, but I'll figure it out. As Theric just starts to walk towards the tent. Thornscale, as he walks by, looks towards you, Kaio, and says, so what exactly were you calling me over for? Because it just seemed like you were calling me over to try and get me killed.
So, they have a hammer with the city.
What?
Theric was going to buy the hammer that they have for the cumulative worth of a kingdom. A titanium heart is what he offered for it.
He has a titanium heart.
You brought it here?
As Thornscale turns around, and he's willing to part with it as he just walks away from you guys. Theric, and it's just Thornscale takes off running after Theric, who is paying
Told
no
you
mind,
you'd like it.
is walking towards Thornscale's tent. At this point, Kelmia approaches all of you. Lemdor in tow with her, as Kelmia kind of like having her hand on Lemdor's side, almost like petting his leg. Says, "Well, I hear you guys are going on another adventure, but unfortunately, I can't accompany you this time. I wanted to make sure I upheld my end of the bargain. I said I would try and get Theric to answer pretty quickly, and thankfully, due to your friend here, he's a brother to one of our friends. So, made convincing Theric a little bit easier. With that said, we've located Saga's brother. So, upon Theric finishing his little knickknacks he's building for you, the Dawnbringers are likely going to be unavailable to help you, at least for a time. I know Theric just offered you help, but I wanted to just quickly give you a heads up. We're going to be venturing to Zarthak, and from what we can tell, communication as well as travel outside of Zarthak is difficult to manage, to say the least.
To be honest, you guys have been more than helpful already. I don't want to bring you any more trouble.
Well, you've done your fair share of help for us, but I simply wanted to make sure I was really following through, and then in addition to that, letting you know that Theric just made you a promise that he can't exactly keep quite yet. He doesn't know it, but he's coming with us.
Did you get the lich?
That's why we're going to Zarthak. It seems that Shem has, we think it was not coincidence that you brought that lich back on the ship. There was...
You're the one that hit the guy that we told you not to hit.
Yeah, but you're the one who summoned the thing and it was going to destroy my boat.
It was Razu. It wasn't even us.
So Razu's officially not with you anymore?
I mean, it's undecided.
Apologies then. Razu's summoning of the Lich, with some help from me, was not accidental. It seems that something is at play. There is a city in the snow. I don't quite remember what its name is. It's on the northwest side of Zarthak. That is where the Dawnbringers will be going for the time being. And...
Does Tronile live?
We think so. In fact, we think he's there. It seems that this city was originally founded to be a haven, and something happened. Something went awry.
A haven for what? From what?
He meant it as a retiree place for strong adventurers that were done adventuring. That is to say, as far as we know, yes. And we intend to go find out. But we'll likely be predisposed for some time. So I wanted to wish you the best of luck and just let you know that as soon as we finish, we'd be more than happy to deal with malice if that continues to be a problem. I hope not, but just in case.
Oh, great God, Kelmia. I have finished.
Why do you look like me?
Oh, yeah. We're going in disguise.
Good choice.
I have food offerings.
I do love your food. As she sits down and starts to eat, Lemdor at this point, addressing you, Zephyr, says,
Derek, I have food offering for you too.
he's gone. He left. He's into the tent.
I will bring it to him.
Okay. As Tiku takes some of the food, goes to bring it to Theric, Lemdor addressing you, Zephyr, actually speaking though, so all of you can hear.
29, in case you were wondering. In case that matters.
Okay. Hold that thought for a moment. Lemdor says, I am in more of a sane state of mind now. And I do want to be out of debt to he who saved me. Do you have any idea of the favor you wish for me to do?
I really have not the foggiest idea right now. I am... Do I tell him? Okay, people, group up.
Am I part of this group? I don't think I'm part of this group.
Not you.
Okay.
Give us 1 second.
As you guys group up, seemingly almost like purposely trying to. He seems a little confused. He kind of like turns his head.
It's like try not to listen in.
He turns his head, just trying to avoid
he
it.
can definitely hear us from this distance.
He starts to walk away.
Yeah. It's like we'll walk away or he'll walk away. One of the two. Okay. So do we tell him about Tiku's condition?
I was planning on bringing him up to Orlavale, as it is not a well-known disease even amongst dragons, but Orlavale definitely would be in the know.
Does she have the dragon
Do
sickness?
we ask him to?
You're not here.
He said group
I
up.
know, I know. I
not
said you're
you.
excluded.
Yeah,
Is it
not you.
Group up
He's shooing
excluding you.
away.
Rough.
I requested that you deliver the food to Tarek. There you go.
The best way I can describe it is even I was not aware of this sickness until Tiku was afflicted by it.
And what are your feelings about the sickness?
On the one hand, she's gaining draconic features, and I'm not opposed to that. On the other hand, it's killing her, and I am opposed to that.
I didn't touch my mic. What are you talking about?
Nate, stop touching your mic.
You don't.
My bad. My
I
bad.
just get
I
worried
want it to
that-
be rid of her, or to allow her to control it.
So it's probably safe. Okay. Dragonman says it's safe. Okay. We'll maybe we should ask him to help find a way to either control or cure your dragon sickness, which I think would be more than enough of a.
You use your favor on me.
Of course, Tiku. Of course.
Does that mean I have to be indentured to you or follow your god?
No, Tiku. You've earned this favor just as much as I have.
It just means that he doesn't want you to eat any more of his body parts.
That is true. I would prefer you not to do that unless I'm dead.
How about magic?
I mean, that's fine if I freely offer it to you. Okay, I have an idea.
He said I can eat him when he's dead, by the way, right?
He said that to you. He comes back. Says, what is
Just gotta make sure
your
he's doing
request
okay.
then?"
So my friend here, Tiku, is suffering from an ailment of
Oh,
sorts.
great. Dragon. I have food for you too.
She has what is been referred to as dragon sickness. She's only got 6 weeks to live. If you could help us either find a cure or a way for her to exist with this ailment without perishing, I think our debt would be square.
He kind of brings his head down to you. You offering food and him kind of like looking at it being a small bowl.
Oh no, I make the pot bigger. I made big pot. I knew the dragon was gonna be there.
She seems to be afflicted with a platinum version of it.
As he leans down, he effectively he eats some of the food, effectively licking it out of the cauldron, even increasing it almost like in one gulp. Consumes the rest of your cauldron of food and goes,
Have a goat for a dragon in the whale.
delicious. As he kind of like leans over to you and he starts effectively to smell you.
Tiku like naturally starts like scratching where the dragon's like.
As he for a moment seems complacent and then he seems to get confused for a moment. Then he picks his head up and looks at you kind of confused. He says, you smell of dragon, not of off-breed, but of a pure blood.
He's probably in the middle. That's kind of what the dragon sickness does, I heard. It makes you
The
turn
dragon
like a dragon.
sickness will slowly but surely transform her to have the features of a dragon. But she will not be able to survive the process. Her body will literally shut down from the change.
Not currently.
It kills. They did dragon blindness one time.
You know, we never actually asked you, but have you actually been feeling weird, or do you actually feel fine?
Could have been feeling weird.
And Anytime that you've been showing the symptoms of dragon's blindness, you're unaware of it.
I haven't felt anything, but I do have lapses in time. Mostly when during that fight you guys said.
Don't the kobolds get sick when they get afflicted with this? Like they actually physically have sickness, like with Gerbu? Because he kind of felt kind of sickly, right?
I don't think
I
so.
think that might
It's
be
the-
due to his magic.
Oh, also,
not-
that was the later stages of it. The closer they get to the end,
Yeah.
the more they start to
Dragon
show
blindness
actual.
and then blood, like in the blood.
And they can't move.
they can't move because
Yeah,
they like start to like.
Yeah, their
They
body
have, like, a
effectively.
Lock
dragon
up.
heart, but their body can't.
It's
They start to,
literally
like,
like
lock up
they're
and
almost like the frame that holds them together can no longer support what they're becoming, and they literally just start to die because they can no longer.
And do
Their body
time.
can't keep up with it. That said, for you, he says, "I have an idea already. Kobolds cannot survive this change.
Tico heard.
Dragons can."
So I need to give my curse to a dragon?
You simply must become a dragon.
Kobolds can't become dragons.
You can.
How did Tico become a dragon?
He looks towards the cauldron.
Tiku gets inside the cauldron.
I am ready to become a dragon.
Shakes his head.
Tiku, I don't. Are you serving yourself up to the dragon
I think he means you have to eat Razer.
or a dragon?
Specifically, a dragon of the material that corrupts your blood.
Wait, a platinum dragon's a thing?
There is only one, and his name is Bahamut.
Oh,
Prime dragon?
all right, he is a platinum dragon.
Tico doesn't think she can
Did you
kill
say-
Bahamut in 6 weeks, guys.
Did you say prime dragon or platinum dragon?
You simply need a portion. You would not need to consume him in his entirety.
Tico doesn't think she can get hold of a god's essence in 6 weeks, guys.
Wait, hold on, time out. Did he say you gotta eat a prime dragon
A
Platinum.
or a
platinum.
platinum dragon?
Platinum, because that's what's in my blood.
What about brimstone? Some of them have brimstone in them.
Yes,
I don't think I've seen a brimstone dragon.
I haven't either.
So they just are gonna die.
Most kobolds can't become dragons.
Oh.
Only the strong can.
But what about Tico's friends? They probably all have dragon sickness.
There may be more than one way. I will search for another. But
Can you search for a less godly platinum dragon?
Technically, Squawk said he had an idea of how to cure it too.
What about the champion of Bahamut? I would assume he's also a platinum dragon.
Now I have to kill the champion.
Wouldn't
I'm
any
just curious.
wouldn't any platinum dragonborn be part of a platinum dragon?
There are no platinum dragonborn. Only silver is your closest.
Is there a
that true?
difference?
Extremely.
Is that true?
a platinum dragon. He looks to you. He actually looks over to you as well. He almost stops for a moment, and he sits and looks up to the sky.
Can I insight that look?
Go for it.
Just so you know, I am disguised in the silver robes.
Mhm.
Okay. 22.
Are you still hungry, oh great Brimdor?
He does not answer you. You would actually hear this as well. You don't hear the first part, but you hear a response. And it is clearly Orlevel, and it says, "They can know of the divine blood." At this point, he kind of like takes his head down. He says, "Platinum dragons are divine. There is not only one. It is any dragon with the potential to be divine."
Would that also include Dragonborn?
If they have potential to be divine.
I know a pretty cool Dragonborn that's... I don't know.
You want me to eat your cool dragonborn, you know?
Does this set a part of him? What about like a scale?
Would that work?
Not that small.
Like a hand?
Maybe.
An arm?
I would not plan on the other party being complete after.
So like cannibalism.
More like you would take the chance to be divine.
You simply must learn how to turn your blood into that of a divine dragon. I know that consuming a divine dragon would do so, also known as a platinum dragon. If there is another way, I will search for it.
Question: do they have to eat the whole thing?
It won't be whole, he said.
He said a large
When you're not
portion
done.
of it though.
Well, is that relative to size? Because I'm imagining a large portion to me would be different than a large portion to Tiku.
The being
Yeah,
will
you're
not
right.
be
Tiku's
whole
large portion
after.
would be way bigger because she serves dragons.
The being would not be whole after, as the essence you must consume would leave it feeble.
So would you say, like maybe a haunch?
I think it more like part of its soul. Is what it's saying. Like a lich.
Oh, so not actually eating it.
Well,
There is a reason Tiku is the only kobold I've seen with the potential to become divine.
So if you consume the dragon's soul, what happens to its body?
It would be left feeble,
But still alive, but without a soul.
of sorts.
Of sorts. Like,
It'd
has
become a
this ever happened
monster.
before? Are you aware of?
A mindless
Yes.
dragon.
It is not too unlike what happened to me, but irreversible.
Wait, so someone ate your soul,
Feeble mind.
Someone
kind
took
of
it
thing.
for a time.
but they gave it back.
Zephyr did.
So is Tiku giving the soul back to the dragon? Or no?
It would
No,
be
in her case, she would
irreversible.
eat it.
So what happens to the dragon's body
It just
when there's no
chills her.
soul? Like, if it's still
You can
functioning and
prob-
alive, is it still a thinking thing?
Yes.
I'm
Would
just
be
wondering
weakened.
how
It's not the
how
whole
it
soul.
works.
It's only
So we're
part
not
of the
eating
soul.
the whole soul, just part of the soul. What
Yeah.
if? But my question is, if you eat the whole soul,
I think then it actually dies.
Yes.
then it actually dies. Okay, with the whole soul gone. See, that's where my confusion was.
Because the Packer, I think, eats souls too.
So how? So if we obtain this dragon's soul, we heal Tiku, we have a bunch of soul left over. All right, we could sell that soul to the Packer.
How about you sell the dragon?
Dragon
parts?
immediately seems to turn its head away from you in distaste and says, I will search for another cure. And takes off.
Hold.
appreciate it.
He holds, but he's in the air.
You have a stone in your possession, given to you by a previous member of the Cubix Ascenders. I require it.
And he thinks for a moment before, almost like his arm kind of hanging below him, as he kind of just seems to almost like open it up and fling as the stone and falls to the ground beneath him, and he flies away.
Goodbye,
May
Uncle.
Olivale guide you.
Goodbye, Uncle Grimdor.
With that, you guys are again left alone in this field, as Kelmia has also gone to the tent to meet with Theric. What do you guys want to do?
Well, this is an
Walk
eventful
up and
day.
pick up the stone.
Okay. You
So-
have
So everybody's ready to go? We're all in
choose to
disguise?
stone.
Tiku is ready.
Hey, Kyle, I think we're ready to go.
I think my disguise needs a little touch up.
If I'm not mistaken, I believe
think it
that
looks
Theric
good.
is planning on providing us
Just
a
doesn't
few
blend in well.
items.
Sorry, what was that?
If I'm not mistaken, is not Theric planning to provide us a few items?
I believe so. I don't know how long he'll be though.
Also, wasn't that for Malice? Not
He's not going to
Roslakar.
see us again.
I mean, he doesn't know he's leaving, from what I heard.
We can ask him how long he's gonna take. If you want to speed this up a little, will this be something we wait for or
Okay.
not?
I think we plan on heading out in the morning, right? It's kind of later in the afternoon, and you need to practice cooking.
The answer is for the items that he was planning to prepare each of you an item, in his words, equivocal to the arm that he has prepared for. I almost called you Zareth. For Zephyr.
Upgrade.
We're going straight to fairy tale.
He's going to spend the day,
about to be
and he would
slept by
also be
Dragon Slayer.
leaving. He would also be leaving a day from now. But he's going to spend the day creating items for you. So effectively, you'd have the rest of this day, and then the plan is to leave in the morning. Then is that correct?
Yep, believe so.
Teleport to the show.
Okay. We
I-
gotta practice cooking.
Rozakar, I'll get it.
I would
Cooking
disguise
magically
myself.
infused food.
Okay. It's an Arcana check in combination with her cooking.
I would disguise
assuming he
myself
has
as
to use spell
Sleka.
Oh, yeah.
Try one more time.
I would disguise myself as Sleka.
Okay. It's like as a girl, just so you know.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Just making sure.
Let's hear that woman voice.
I'll go ahead and
We'll hear it next week.
disguise myself as B. Clayman.
We got Beat Clayman, we got a Halfling, we got a female Kenku. What are the three of you going as?
I'm just gonna be just a myself, but silver. I feel like
I'm an
that's
acolyte.
enough,
Okay.
as I'm always wearing gold. So
Anything about it?
Okay. So you can think about it
Yeah.
for a bit. Effectively, as you guys are cooking and trying to make arcane food, what is your checks?
Arcane combined.
I am going to cast Enhance Ability on both me and Tiku.
When you're making food?
Ooh.
Bardic Inspiration?
Is it? It's not concentration, right?
it is,
It is concentration.
but I'm
it's
pretty sure you
1
can
hour.
target multiple people.
Bardic Inspiration?
Yeah.
Ooh. It's a D8.
There's no way it's a D8 when you're multi-classed.
It's D8. It's D8.
I think it
level
goes up to a D10 when you're
All right.
single
all right.
class, or
Pretty sure it
D12
goes up to
actually.
D12 once you hit like
Yeah, I
level
think-
17.
Yeah, it caps out at
Ah.
12.
What do you got totals?
Rolled the same on both.
Is this before the long rest or after the long rest?
This before.
24.
24. Do you go?
Big numbers.
Big number. $40.
40.
40.
With a 4? Jeebus.
4
Welcome to
0.
endgame D&D, except this is mid-game D&D. How are we still getting
Advantage
so
plus
high?
Bardic Inspiration.
Okay. So,
I got you.
what are you cooking? What's the food?
I mean, what does he have on hand? I'll let him be the host, choose the food for tonight.
Thornscale?
Thorns.
Okay.
Yeah, because we're staying in the night still.
Thornscale has a massive variety of food, actually.
What is
It's one of the things that he enjoys the most. He prefers sweet things himself. He typically does fruits. It's his main snack, and then he typically eats some kind of. His dinner is almost always some kind of hearty meat, whether that be boar, beef, steaks. Doesn't really eat breads. Pretty much eats fruits, meats, and drinks ale.
Well, we'll
He's
do
a Brazilian barbecue person.
Pretty
do
much, yes.
Brazilian barbecue, and we'll do yogurt tarts and fruit smoothies for dessert.
Okay. As you guys have a very sweet and a very
Electrifying meal.
sweet and electrifying meal. Would be an accurate way to say it. Quick reminder for you though, Tiku. Last 8 hours, so this would not be the food that would actually work for the.
Oh, I know. We were
Yeah.
practicing.
This was a warm up. Just
Yeah, we were
a
practicing.
warm up, a 40 warm up.
Yeah.
As you go into it, and like Zephyr's starting to learn
With
how to
the
imbue
party.
Tiku's magic or Tiku's
We're doing
cooking.
fruit drinks. That's for the party. That's what we're doing.
As Zephyr's learning how to imbue magic into Tiku's cooking, Tiku makes it very, very easy, effectively just substituting what would normally be the essence of an individual with Zephyr's magic. You, even at a first try, you're just like, oh, this I can do. Splitting souls from people, taking that essence, a little bit more difficult. But this Tiku knows how to do.
when it's freely offered.
Magic into soup, easy. Souls into soup, not so easy.
Have you
Ripping souls out of people to put in soup, super hard.
would it be easier if the soul offered itself to you? Maybe that's why the Packer makes deals.
I do not know.
Apparently, I've been playing the flute this whole time. With random bolts of shadows.
I think that's why the Packer
Going to
does make
people.
deals. Makes games out of it.
He gave me this rock though, and it's so hard.
What do you got to do with the rock?
I don't know.
As you see frustration
Do you want me to
and
cast
curiosity
Identify on
combined.
it?
Oh, sure.
Cast identify on it.
Okay.
And then Tiku takes it back and puts it back under her hat. And then you pick it up and it's like this big. But for Tiku, it's like this.
It is a soul stone. The stone that you have just been handed has, at this point, has 88 souls currently trapped inside of it.
Oh, this is a lot of souls in there. That's. Are you supposed to get them out?
I'm supposed to eat it.
You're supposed to eat the stone.
Yeah.
You just try putting it in your cauldron,
Yeah.
and it just doesn't work.
No.
Tried breaking it.
Yes.
As you go through a bit of a questionnaire trying to figure out what Tiku might be able to do with this stone, you'd effectively go into one more long rest.
Have you tried talking to them?
No.
Pondering that for the
Tiku
evening.
tries talking to them.
I would want to summon Malrith
I tried.
a little bit away from the tent and from people.
Concentrating on it and trying to get the essence
And I
out.
would basically be holding the stone. When we first contracted, you had one request. I believe I have fulfilled it. And I'll hold the stone out to her.
Okay. And she kind of inspects the stone for a moment. She goes, well, it was easier than I thought it would be. As she would effectively snatch out and consume the stone. As Malrith consumes the stone, the features that show her effectively that which makes her the adult dragon she is almost seem to become less fey-like from where she was before, and seem to takes much more of an actual dragonoid figure. She seems to almost grow slightly. She would also gain a little bit. So give me 1 second. I have this stat block. Effectively, she would gain power from the stone. I'll send you the stat block for her, as consuming it would increase both her connection with the material plane as well as the power that she actually has. Is there anything else that people are doing this day?
We just asked Derek how long his whole crafting thing's going to be.
So
He said a day. He'll
Oh,
be
was it a
leaving
day?
tomorrow too.
Okay.
Yep.
He's also
Oh.
leaving in the morning.
My
He's
man-
simply deciding
my man
what
works
items.
fast.
Well, I'm sure he has bases and stuff already.
He also has many items at
And
his
also, yeah.
ready that he is.
And he's got the fabricate spell.
Yep. Exactly.
Okay,
He's
so
a
with that,
crafter god.
an evening of mingling, continuing to build relationships, working to perfect your
I'm
craft of
pretty
cooking.
sure Clay Big Man got laid twice, probably.
Do
Maybe more.
you know?
Beat Clayman.
Cooking's not too bad. Kind of therapeutic.
Agreed.
Is there anything you're doing, Gurgle, in this evening? Or are you just planning for the day to come?
Secret's favorite.
Just. Well, I would ask Theric if he knows how to activate the magic item.
Theric very, very easily would be able to identify the item for you. Effectively, there is just a trigger word.
But you don't know what it is.
He does, actually. All you'd have to do for Serval's, a couple things worth noting. It is the doll has a month-long cooldown, so once you use it, it cannot be used again for a month. The trigger word for his doll is Zestaria Dearest. And-
My man had a freaking fixation.
Well, it's his daughter.
We already knew that.
And really, that's effectively it. It is the recall spell. It's not like the recall spell. It is just straight the recall spell. It allows you and up to 5 willing creatures with you to return.
That's the perfect amount.
Wild. Allows you and up to 5 willing creatures to instantly teleport it to a pre-designed sanctuary.
How many unwilling creatures?
0. You must be willing in order for the spell to work.
All the unwilling creatures.
Okay, so with that, you guys would go into your final long rest before prepping before the day going into Rozlakar for your plans to sneak in under
Storm the
disguise
capital.
to try and save the kobolds. And that is where we're going to end for the evening, as we had a little bit more of a chill session following what is the revelation of what Razu's father Squawk had done. So we will be back next week. We appreciate anyone and everyone who hung out. Sorry, it was a little bit of a disaster at the start with me spilling my drink everywhere. But we hope to see you next week. And yeah, have a great weekend. Bye-bye.